Alright, so today, I'm just going to be going through every single 210 Furious Fighters cards. This is going to take a long time. I'm going to talk about each and every one for a bit, and that's pretty simple. That's pretty much all I'm going to do right now. It'll take a while. It's going to be uncut pretty much, but I'm going to have to take some breaks in between, because, yeah, it's going to take a while. And if you're watching this from the future, where the game is big, where Furious Fighters is big, well, that's pretty cool that it's big. I'm not sure if that's going to happen yet, but as the time recording this, Furious Fighters isn't even for sale yet, and I only have 103 subscribers on the channel so far. But yeah, let's get into this. So, these are actually mixed up pretty randomly, and so is the power-ups, so I guess what card, the order that we do this is just going to be pretty random. So first up, we got Dragonator. So this guy's just like Dragonator. It's like Dragon Alligator, pretty much. That's the idea. This is one of the first paper cards I ever made was Dragonator. Like, Nader, Drader, Dragonator, and Super Dragonator were some of the first paper cards I ever made. And, yeah, so this character is pretty special. He's a classic. And, yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple dragon abilities, except he can't breathe fire. I don't really know why I decided to do that, but Super Dragonator can breathe fire. And, yeah, I mean, the art of this card's pretty basic. It's just him flying in the sky. And, yeah, I mean, that's it pretty much. Next up, we got another sky character. This is Balloon. So, he's just like a balloon with eyes. Yeah, pretty simple. So, head hit, he can hit people with his head, but it only does 20 damage because, you know, it's a balloon. It should probably only do 10 damage. But then float up, obviously goes for the physics of a balloon, because balloons float up because, you know, the helium. And, yeah, I mean, the art of the card's pretty simple. Just him in the clouds. This was one of the quickest ones to make, I think, because it was really simple to make. It was not hard at all. Next up, we got Wrecking. This is one of the first digital cards I drew, actually. I mean, digital, that's pretty much all the cards. Of course, there's the paper cards, but yeah. And he kind of took a while to make. I was still learning the app, so it was pretty odd to make, but he ended up looking all right. And so the art is pretty much just him driving on a road with a little shed behind him, and a sign says construction here because, you know, he's like a construction truck, a wrecking ball. Well, I guess it wouldn't make sense because a wrecking ball destroys stuff. But yeah, and then Ball Slam is his attack because he's a wrecking ball truck. Next up, we got Fruitage, which is an orange. Orange. Okay, I said that wrong. Yeah, and he's like a walking orange. I like this character quite a bit. He's kind of cute. So, Ram, yeah, he just runs into people. He has nothing really too special, and then just slap. And, yeah, I've always liked this character for some reason. I like him quite a bit. And the Super Fruitage, too, which is kind of just the same thing, except with, like, glowing eyes and stuff. And I think a little longer arms and stuff. The art is pretty simple. He's just standing in front of 2 trees and then some thorns around him. It's pretty simple art. All right, Polestar. This is a very big character of the game. This guy is really important. Like, for the stories of the game that I'm working on and, like, you know, the lore and stuff, this guy's important. So, he's like a pulsar. I'm guessing you probably don't know what a pulsar is. It's like some kind of star in space that, like, spins a beam around. That's how I got the idea, because I've always been interested in space and animals, so that's pretty much how most of these ideas come, is from space and animals, so, yeah. And then, of course, we got Stellar in the background because Polestar and Stellar and Quasis, who's on the pack art right there, are pretty much eternal enemies. So I haven't really decided all the stories for this yet, but yeah, he's a big character. And I pretty much already explained the art. He's just in a battle with Stellar. They're kind of finding themselves face to face in front of a little nebula, I guess you could kind of see. Gravitational pull, it's just because the stars, you know, have gravitational pull. This attack is so powerful. You literally just take one of your opponent's cards for the rest of the game. I mean, that's a really good attack. And then Heat Beam, it like loses each time because I guess the energy that he puts into Heat Beam takes away from himself. So we have Super Catil now. Now, this guy is just like an eel, but kind of like an eel blue marlin. I mean, I guess swordfish would be a better way to say it. Kind of like an eel swordfish mix. He's just going after some fish really fast in the art. And there's like a little water volcano in the background. You can see an underwater volcano. Sword Nose, of course, it does quite a bit of damage because it's supposed to be really sharp. Regenerate. I actually don't really know why I came up with Regenerate for this guy. It doesn't really make that much sense, but I guess I had a reason before. I just forgot the reason, really. So next up, we got Saddle. This guy is like, yeah, a satellite with an eyeball, pretty much. I haven't really made up much about this character yet. It's probably gonna be something like the alien guys, like Galax and Galact and Marshall built this guy for protection or something like that. And so he can shoot out a signal that can control someone's mind. And yeah, that's why he has the attack signal, which is his only attack. Um, and yeah, I guess the art is just him in front of the planet, like Earth. It's not going to be called Earth in the Fierce Fighters universe, probably just something like the home planet, but yeah, it's just there, and then the sun's there. Pretty simple drawing. Next up, we got Chester. So, he's kind of like a jester mermaid. That's kind of how I came up with the name Chester. I don't really know how I came up with the idea, too. This was one of the drawings I made whenever I was running out of ideas. So, it was like one of the latest paper cards I drew. And, yeah, he's just kind of messing around with these fish, probably trying to kill them because all the fish end up looking pretty terrified. And this one's trying to swim away into a little cave underwater, something like that. Mean trick. I don't really know what that's supposed to mean, but I could come up with something for that. And ram, yeah, he can just swim at you and ram you, I guess. I just, for some reason, I've used this drawing for quite a bit of things. Like, I printed out the drawing, so I kind of like that drawing. Then Minshroom is a pretty boring character. As you can see, he's this one with his eyes right here. He's just a mushroom in the ground. But it gets more interesting whenever he levels up and becomes bigger. So Hide. This card can't be attacked for a turn. I don't really know why I put Hide. I guess like he goes under the ground and hides kind of and hit. I don't really even know how he hits if he's just like a mushroom, but yeah. And oh yeah, I will explain the art. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just him with some other mushrooms and then trees and hill in the background. So we got Machamp right now. So I made him on a volcano because I use the hill and trees background so much, which is supposed to be the background for him, but I just use that way too much, so I decided to do this. Yeah, he's like standing on a little volcano. There's some lava bubbles coming out. I don't know if it's really that easy to tell because the card's pretty dark. But Machamp, I don't really know what this creature would be. He was from one of the really old card games I made in my childhood that I made when I was probably like 5 or 6 years old or something like that. And then I used some characters from that really old card game to put into Fierce Fighters. So this was an old idea I had. I don't even know how I came up with this though. He just has like chain arms and stuff. Next up we got Cragel. So yeah, I guess it's like cradle and crage mixed together kind of. So he's just standing in just some kind of fancy hallway, I guess. Roll ram. Yeah, he like rolls at you because he's a cage. He can kind of roll. I guess that kind of makes sense. And then run into you because he's metal, so that would hurt if he ran to you pretty fast. And I guess, yeah, this guy is not big enough to trap you in his door yet, but whenever he levels up to like I think the next version, then he can do that. Yeah, and this guy's pretty basic, I guess, just like a cage with arms and legs. Alright, Molten. This is a pretty weird character. He's like a big blob of lava, pretty much. The art is him chilling in a volcano, and obviously a little pool of lava. He's breathing some fire, and there's kind of a little fiery glow around him. I like how this art ended up being actually a lot. Lava Throw, 130 damage, does a lot. But the thing why it does damage to itself is because like he's throwing lava, and he's made out of lava, so he's slowly taking away from himself. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. Next up we got Elent. This guy's just like kind of like a bug-shaped elephant, I guess. Pretty much just an elephant, pretty basic elephant. And yeah, the idea is that he's in a zoo. Nothing much to it, really. So ram, yeah, he can ram, and he can slap you with his trunk. So obviously ram's a lot better, but it does a little bit of damage to himself because, if you run into somebody, it's kind of going to hurt yourself. And yeah, I think I already explained the art, just him in the zoo, some trees in the far back. Then right here is Stemage. So we did Fruitage earlier, which is what Stemage levels into. So Stemage, he's kind of just standing on a rock in front of a pretty basic background. Get eaten. So you'll succeed life from one of your cards. So yeah, so it's pretty much like one of your other characters, Stemage, can sacrifice himself so that person can eat it and be healed a little bit. And Stem Slap, 30 damage is quite a bit for just that tiny stem, just slapping somebody. But yeah, I guess that's what I did. Smeal. He's kind of just like a eel with, I guess, a little bit of a weird shape to him. Fake death. So yeah, he He plays dead, pretty much fake death, trick play. I don't really know what that would be. I can't really imagine that, but I could come up with something, obviously. And yeah, he's just resting on a rock in the ocean. Pretty simple art. And there's 2 fish over here. Next is Ornage. Okay, so we're almost finishing this whole leveling area because there's only one I have to go after to finish that is Super Fruitage. Yeah, Super Fruitage. So Ornage, he's just sitting on a little branch over here growing from that branch on the trees. There's a little sign that says fruits, like he's on a little farm. Yeah, so he has the get eaten thing too, and stem hit. Pretty much the same thing as a... What was that guy's name again? Stemage, right? Yeah, Stemage. So, yeah. Psycho. He's kind of just a big furry ball. Nothing really too much to him. Just in the background with a sunset on the ocean and some bushes in front of him. Pretty simple background. I didn't know what else to do. But he can ram and scratch. I mean, look at those long claws. Of course he can scratch. But yeah, he can like ram, kind of roll into you. And that's the idea of it pretty much. Right here is Nader. So Nader is the first card we went through was Dragonator. Yeah, Dragonator. So Nader is his first version. He's still green like an alligator, but he has those little wings. But those wings are not big enough for him to fly yet. So this guy can't fly. He can bite, and I don't get why anybody would use Scratch, but it's just there just in case there's some really unlikely chance that it'll be a better attack than bite. Next is Cynix. Actually, I didn't really explain the art for this one. I'm just doing that with every card pretty much. I mean, yeah, he's just chilling in front of trees and a background with some grass on it. All right, so we got Cynix now. He's like a snake, dragon, birdish kind of thing. Venomous bite, yeah, for the idea of a snake. That's why there's a venomous bite. And the attached card will lose 30 lives each time it's your turn. It works like that because, you know, the venom slowly gets worse and worse. So it slowly does more damage. And that's actually a pretty good attack. It's just sometimes kind of hard to keep track of the life numbers whenever you're using that. Fly and hide. He can fly pretty fast, so he can just hide in the cloud or something like that. And, oh, I forgot to explain the art for this one. I mean, yeah, you can see a little rainstorm. He's over some dark rain clouds and then the sun up there. All right, so I just took a bit of a break, actually, for a very long time. All right, so next up, we got Super Mantible. So this one is actually pretty special. This is one of the ones that took me the longest to draw out of any of them. I guess just there was a lot of details. There's cars falling down, the garage. I mean, yeah, the parking garage breaking. It's just for some reason it took me a long time to draw. The character shape was kind of hard too, with all those little spikes in the back and stuff. That took a while. And I had some little details in the windows that are pretty hard to notice, but that took a while too. So yeah, this is one of the toughest ones to make. And the art, I mean, it's just him kind of destroying a city, I guess. You could probably tell. And spine ram, yeah, it's like he hits you with the spine because he got a lot of spikes on the spine and stuff. And fast pinch, you know how mantises are, right? All right, next up we got Grimal. So this guy is just a creature. He's not like a resemblance of anything in real life. Actually, I kind of like the idea of this guy. Just some weird creature, pretty much. So search and find. Yeah, he can just, like, find your opponent, I guess. I just thought that would be an interesting attack for him. And Scratch is pretty small because he's a pretty weak character. This drawing, you actually can't see a whole lot, but if I put it right in the light, you could kind of see hills in the background. And he's just in front of a little fire in a cave. This one's a pretty dark card, though. And, yeah, that's that one. Next up, we got Montonio. So Montonio was a character inspired by a really old little story I wrote whenever I was like 6 years old or something like that. Let me try to find that quick. I think it's right here. Yeah, it's actually right here, so I might as well just show it to the camera. So, here we go. Montonio. Let's take one of the pages out. It's kind of like you have to guess which character is going to survive Montonio. The monster of death. He has a knife in his mouth. Yeah, and then it's like you choose which character you think is going to survive and stuff. It was a pretty cool idea, but it was actually just a copy of something my brother made, so it was pretty unoriginal. But, of course, Montonio was original. Then here's Montonio City. Yeah, Montonio's face over there. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And, all right, let's get back to Fierce Fighters. Yeah, so Montonio is kind of just like a weird monster slug. Has like a little glowing thing on his chest, some pretty squarish teeth. The background is just him in front of a hill. I mean, I think you could tell, but Montonio is supposed to be like a humongous character, like one of the biggest characters in Fierce Fighters. And speaking of the biggest character in Fierce Fighters, we'll get to that one next. But yeah, slide over. He's humongous, just slides over and crushes you. Dark power. Yeah, it's like an evil kind of magical attack, I guess. So yeah, Montonio is one of the biggest characters in Fierce Fighters, but Quasis is, I think that this guy's the biggest one out of all of them. He's supposed to be a black hole character. He's obviously not going to be as huge as a black hole because black holes are unimaginably huge. And as you can see, Quasis is on the front of one of the pack designs, so that makes him pretty special too. So Quasis is just gigantic. Like, he's huge, but not, it's probably like a billionth of the size of an actual black hole. Yeah, so portal, he can just make a little portal, and some random creature will come out of it. Well, yeah, any creature that exists in Fierce Fighters. Then laser beam, as you could see in the card. Yeah, the card art is just him destroying a plane. That's pretty rude of him, but it's just what he does. And yeah, he's in front of a building over there. Next up is, just one thing I want to say is that Quasis is a very important character in Fierce Fighters. I mean, he's going to be in a lot of the stories. He's a really big character. So next up we got Goo. Goo is kind of just a useless little character. He's like a sludge of goo that just moves around, has 2 eyeballs. He can kind of shape change, but not really shape shift. He can just move around a little bit, and he's a pretty lame character. I didn't really know. I kind of just, he's actually one of my earlier characters that I made up, but he was a pretty lame character. And yeah, he's just in front of 2 random buildings in the city, I guess. Next up we got Molecat. He's kind of just some humanoid cat, I guess, a little bit. Kind of like that. All he can do is scratch. And yeah, the art is just him throwing a rock. He's kind of just a basic character. Nothing really too special about him. But he, I don't know. There's nothing really that interesting about him. Yeah, he's in front of a pile of rocks, throwing a rock. You can see the forest in the background. Pretty basic character. Then Magi. This was the first Fierce Fighters card I've ever... Oh, wait, no. This is not the first Fierce Fighters card I drew on the iPad. Never mind. This is the 5th Fierce Fighters card I drew on the iPad. The first non-leveling card I drew on the iPad. And the first version looked pretty bad. Because if you don't know, I think I explained this earlier, but how it went was like... I don't know if I explained this earlier. There's the original drawings, the really old ones, of course. Then there's the first version of the digital drawings. And those ones, there was errors on them. Here, I can actually go get them. They're right here in my room. Let's take a look. So, here are some of the original versions of the card. As you can see, the card back is a bit worse than the new one. The new one just has some cooler effects. So, now, I think you could tell that most of the new cards, like the final versions, have like a little glow around their names. And the attack descriptions are moved in so they don't get cut out. These cards, the attack descriptions were like right on the edge. And look at Ultra. Like, you can't even read that it says Ultra. I had to fix that too. This was the first test print of Fierce Fighters cards ever. And as you can see, the art is definitely not as good. It's a lot more cartoony than the new ones. Like, yeah, it's just pretty cartoony. I didn't really know about making lighting and stuff back then for these old ones. But I pretty much added lighting to fix it. I switched it. I made the life numbers a little bit different too. Like, why is this life number black? I have no idea why I made it black. And yeah, I think, I don't remember everything I did to fix them, but there's a pretty good amount of things. Here, I have a couple more right here. Oh yeah, so here's a bad thing too, is that King Galax, I spelled damage wrong, so I had to fix that too. And yeah, I guess this King Galax one isn't too different from the new one, but it's still actually, the new one's a lot better. But yeah, and then after these versions, there was actually a couple more edits and trials and errors that I had to do before I figured out the final version, which I had to move the text down a little bit so they didn't get cropped. And yeah, so Magi, the first version of him was pretty bad because I was learning the app still and I was drawing him. Like, I barely knew anything about the app. So yeah, and he took a long time to make too because I didn't really know what I was doing. And oh yeah, I'll just explain the art. He's kind of just like in a weird alley. I guess there's a trash can right there, a fence, and he's making a little magical beam from his wand. There's a little magic trail behind him, and he's just got like a dark, shady face. You don't really know how he looks at all. That'll remain a mystery for a while, how he looks. Alright, bite. So this one, like Magi, this is actually like literally the first card I ever drew on the iPad, Bite. So the first version actually looks a lot worse. If y'all want to see how that one looks, I can share it. I completely redrew the character. I didn't redraw the background really, but I completely redrew the character. The outline was really fat. The outlines were inconsistent. Like the outline for the character was fat, but the outline for the teeth were really skinny, and it just looked really bad. But that was literally the first card I ever made on this app. But I actually didn't do too bad with the background whenever I did that. And I also added the sun ray to the new final version of the card. But yeah, Bite. Oh, I spelled it before like BYTE, which then I realized means something like kind of with tech or something like that. So I changed it to this, just it would make a little more sense. He's not like a robot, he's a shark. Oh yeah, and the art, pretty self-explanatory. He's just in the ocean. There's a little bubble stream back there and stuff. Super Spidisect. Alright, this guy's just like a really big, scary spider monster, pretty much. And he can eat, so they can take it back. Okay, so it's like, he doesn't actually eat the characters. That's pretty much how it's supposed to work. He doesn't actually eat them, but he just has them in his mouth, and then he spits them out after a bit, because he just doesn't want to eat them. It's kind of gross to eat other fierce fighters, isn't it? So, throw far, yeah, he's got a pretty strong arm, because he's huge. This is definitely another really big Fierce Fighters character that's like really big in size in the Fierce Fighters universe and stuff. And yeah, so the art is pretty much just the mountain breaking in the far back, which is going to be his fault. That's why there's a mountain breaking. It's his fault. And then there's a cart that's, you could see he's kind of scratching the ground, I guess. But yeah, next up we got Super Corrupstar. This is probably one of the worst, if not the worst, art I've made for a card ever, actually. It's pretty bad. And, I mean, I don't think I'll fix it. I think it's alright. I think it's good enough, but it's definitely one of the worst ones I ever drew. And, yeah, he's kind of, like, popping out of a hole, just a mountain background. That dark blue sky color doesn't really go that well in the cards. I think that's one reason. And that glow in the stomach just doesn't look that good either. So, yeah, Claw Drill. He just kind of drills with his claws into you. It's a pretty powerful, does 90 damage. And Dig, he's a mole. Yeah, he's like supposed to be a mole pretty much, so that's why he can dig. And next up we got Orbistar. This guy's also a pretty important character in Fierce Fighters. He's one of the space characters. All the space characters are pretty important. Besides Saddle. I think I already went over Saddle. Saddle's not too important for the space characters, but Double Attack. Yeah, because he's supposed to be like a double version of the Novus card. I had to cut it for a second. So what I was saying, I think, was Novus. Yeah, two Novuses together, which we'll get to later, obviously. These cards are just randomized, the order that I go through them. But they go together, and then they make an Orbistar, which kind of share a consciousness, but still, they have a little bit of different personalities, but they're always together, connected by that blue force you can see in between them. That's pretty much how it works. The artwork is just him in front of some clouds and a dark cloud behind him. The dark cloud's supposed to be raining, but it kind of just blends in after it got printed. Next up, we got Mokar. This is one of the earlier cards I drew on the iPad too, so it looks a little bit worse than some of the new ones, but yeah, Mokar, just like an alive police card pretty much. That's it. Obviously, he has a run over because he's a car. He can run over people, do donuts. The attack card's not possible. He just does donuts, and that confuses people. It's kind of a weird attack, but I just like the idea of it. And yeah, it's a pretty simple drawing. He's just on a road, some traffic lights, a sign that says beach, as you can see, and then just a van up there. Next up, we got Galax. This guy is a pretty important character in the Fierce Fighter stories, too. He's got the mind control attack. You can use the antennas on him to control an opponent's mind for a little bit. And laser eyes, too. He can shoot lasers out of his eyes. This drawing is just him in a desert on, Earth. Or as I said earlier, I don't know if I'm going to call it. I'm not going to call it Earth in the Fierce Fighters universe. Probably just it's going to have a different name. The home planet might just be what it's called. But yeah, he should be on a planet in space rather than in a pretty basic desert. But yeah, I guess that's just how this drawing is. And we got Cricket now. So he's kind of just like a cricket. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Cricket, as you could tell by the name, he's flying too. There's a plane over there, pretty basic drawing. This drawing did not take that long to make. So Bite, the cat, and why he puzzles is because the bite just has a little bit of venom, so it kind of, confuses and puzzles the person, makes them feel a little weird, lightheaded, I guess. Pinch, 80. Yeah, he's got a pretty strong pinch. All right, Montonius. So we went over Montonio earlier. Montonius is two Montonios whenever they touch those glowing chest plates is probably going to be the idea of it. They merge together and make us even stronger and about 2 times as large being. Well, probably not 2 times as large, but like 2 times as long because they merge together pretty much. And Montonius is going to be another huge character. As you can see, he's in front of a background of some mountains, just showing how big he is. And he's so big, he can make a little earthquake, as you can see. And, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for him. Big character. And also the idea of Montonius, and another character, Sharkosaurus, I think it's going to be like, those were like the first creatures to roam the home planet. The Earth, the version of Earth in Furious Fighters universe, as I probably said like 2 minutes ago. But yeah, they're like the earliest characters, kind of like the dinosaurs. King Galax, a very important character for one of the books I'm planning on making. I think it would be like book 3 or book 4 where he's very important. But he's the Galax character, or Super Galax, with a crown. They put on the magical king crown. I've wrote about that in the first Fierce Fighters book. I'll go get that real quick. Should be right here. Here we go. So, yeah, this is the... I finished this book, Fierce Fighters, the Start of Existence. I finished this one so far. So, as you can see, here's the magical crown. The magical crown is a pretty big part for about half of this book. And Voltron finds it. I'm not going to spoil the book. I think I kind of spoiled the book a little bit by looking through it right now. But yeah, this book, I'm going to try to sell these soon. I'm obviously working on selling the cards first, but after that, the books will be next. And I have a lot more books planned for this series, too. This is only book 1. There's probably going to be, like, 12 books for the Fierce Fighter stories, and then a lot more books than 12, too. Like, probably Card Collector's Guide is one of the ideas that I have. I have a whole list of ideas. Then Fierce Fighters mini stories is probably one of the ideas I'll do. And, obviously a guidebook for all the characters, too. That would be cool. That would be fun to make. So, King Galax, yeah, this art, he's got Quasis and Polestar, his 2 pretty big enemies in the back. And, yeah, that's pretty much going to be probably a scene from the story with him. I probably just use this card art in the art for the page of the story because it fits pretty well for what the story's supposed to have in it. Mind control, yeah, he can mind control like Galax, as you can see, but he's a king, so it makes him more powerful. And King's power, I don't know what that would be. Probably just like the laser eyes. Does 80 damage. I'd like this card a lot. This is probably one of my favorite drawings I made for a card. Alright, we got Marshall. So, the level 1 version of, the Galaxes and stuff. And this guy, he's just flying a spaceship called the Space Bus, as you could see. And there's I think that's a Galax home planet or something. There's a little star there. I like this drawing, actually. It's ended up pretty well. And, yeah, he's just flying a little spaceship. He's a very important character in the Fierce Fighter Start of Existence, as you can see. He's pretty big on the cover. Next up we got, that's kind of funny. So I got Marshall and then I got Galact after. Wait, what's Super Galax here too? Oh, I remember I made a video where I showed like these 4 cards side by side. And I probably didn't shuffle them really, so they ended up being next to each other. So yeah, Galact, he's kind of just here using lasers to levitate a little bit because you can do that. There's just the moon over a building. It's kind of a nice little drawing. Laser eyes and kick, kind of like a combination of Galax and Marshall because Galact is in the middle of them. And yeah, nothing too much about this character, but he is pretty important in the Start of Existence. Also, Marshall and Galact look really similar. It's just Galact is a little bit bigger and has like skinnier and longer arms, so they're really not that much different. But besides their attacks, Galax can shoot lasers from their eyes. Now, Super Galax, in the second story I made, which I made about half of it so far, the second book. This is book 1. I made about half of the second book so far. He's important. The species, Super Galax is a pretty big part of that story. So yeah, that's pretty important. I'm not going to spoil it, obviously, but yeah, so this drawing is just him kind of shooting at this little building, shooting at this sign that says, no trespassing. You can't really see that, but I know that's what it says, I think. I'm pretty sure it does. Laser Eye 60 and mind control. Obviously, he can control the minds. That's why he's sending that little Wi-Fi signal looking thing up. That's how he controls the minds. That's like that's how it shows he's controlling someone's mind, those Wi-Fi signal thingies. So I think we went over all the versions of the Galacts over here. Yeah, we did. All right here's Ghosts. So Ghosts, I haven't made up fully what this character is, like the backstory, but it's probably going to be something like pretty much any Fierce Fighters character, whenever it dies, it turns into a ghost. I think it's going to be something like that. So Ghost is actually going to be pretty important once I decide who he's really going to be. So Scare, yeah, he can scare because he's a ghost, and that'll kind of give the opponent like a pretty bad scare to the point where they faint. So yeah, that's the idea of it. Spirit Control, I mean, yeah, he's a ghost. Like a ghost. Not a ghost. I mean, he is a ghost, but like a ghost. So he can control someone's spirit for a bit. Now we got Baltron. Baltron is a very big character in the space stories, and obviously the first one I made so far, he's a big character. That's why he's so big on the picture. He's probably like the first character you'll really notice whenever you look at the book. And yeah, he's just sitting on the moon. This moon setup you can see in some of the pages in the story. And yeah, he's on the moon, just playing in the background, some galaxies and stuff. Moon Army, yeah, could you see those little moons around him? Those guys are supposed to talk, and they actually have, like, brains and stuff, too. But they're always connected with, like, gravity and a force field to Baltron. He could ground pound, because Baltron is also going to be another humongous character, one of the biggest characters in Fierce Fighters. Next up, we got Super Cyron. So this guy was one of the earlier cards I made on the iPad 2, probably, like, around the 10th card or something like that. Yeah, he's just in front of the police building, just some lamps next to him, and the idea is that, there's an alert going off here, and he's ready to go solve some crime. I don't know if that's the way you say that, solve some crime, I don't know, but yeah, he's ready to go help the world, obviously, because I think that's how these guys are going to work. The police car characters are probably going to be, like, just cop cars, but they're alive. So there will be the humans that drive cop cars, and then there'll also be the alive cop cars, like Super Cyron. So he has some pretty sharp teeth, and the whole inside of him is dedicated to digesting an opponent, but he can only really fit one opponent in, is the idea. Because imagine if you could use eat more than once. That would just be overpowered. It literally just kills a card completely. Spike wheels, I don't know why anybody would use spike wheels over slice, but yeah. Next up, we got Spirus. So, yeah, Spirus is kind of just the same thing as Ghost, but a little bit of a different shape of mouth and a little bit bigger. And he has hands, too. Ghost doesn't have hands. So, Scare, Spirit Control, yeah, the same things as Ghost, as you could see. He's kind of just in front of some trees with the moon behind the trees. So, I guess it's a pretty simple drawing. Kind of just like a spooky vibe to the drawing. Rigrock. I drew Rigrock on a plane. I remember, yeah, it was a plane. It was, I pretty much just woke up after sleeping on the plane for a bit and decided to draw some Fierce Fighters characters. So, yeah, he was one of the earlier non-leveling cards I drew, one of the very earlier ones. So he looks a little bit weird, I guess, but obviously whenever I did the fix-ups, I made them better. Yeah, Rigrock, this guy would be pretty important because there's, like, on the map I drew for Fierce Fighters, that's probably not final, but it's very close to final. There's one set of islands that's completely dedicated to Rigrocks and stuff. So, yeah, he'll be a pretty important character. Rock Hard Mind. This card can be, yeah, it's just, I don't know, I just thought that'd be cool. Super Slam. It does 10 less damage each time you use it, because the more he slams, the more rocks he loses himself. That's why there's, you can see the little pebbles falling from him. That's just him breaking apart. Okay, RoboChop. So, this guy is like the evil robot character. There's Killbot, RoboChop, and RoboKill are the 3 robot characters. There's going to be, like, a whole story dedicated to them. They're pretty important characters, too. Like, I feel like Killbot is kind of the icon of Fierce Fighters, but I don't know. At this point, it's more of the space characters because of how much more stories they're going to be in. But, yeah, RoboChop, this picture is just him just destroying planes. I also drew him on a plane ride, too. So I drew him destroying planes while I was on a plane ride. He took a long time to draw, too. He is definitely up there with some of the longest cards that it took me to draw. I was also pretty new to app while I was drawing him, too. But yeah, he ended up looking pretty cool. I like him. Mega Chop, it does 130 each. 130, it does 20 less each time because his blade slowly gets cut off. Self-destruct, he just explodes. He could just explode himself, make an explosion, and it's suicide. But if he's at really low lives, like in a battle, maybe 20 lives, it's kind of just worth it to use self-destruct because it can do so much damage, and he's already going to die like the next turn anyways. Ultra Scorpere. So this guy is going to be one of the more interesting Ultra. I think this is the first Ultra character that we actually got to today, which, that's kind of crazy. I thought we would have been to one. So Ultras are really rare. There's only 12 of them out of the 189 creature cards. I always say 210 cards because there's 210 with the power-ups and creature cards combined, but there really is 189 creature cards. And he's going to be probably one of the rare Ultra cards. So he's like a rebel against all the Ultras. Pretty much all the Ultras are friends and can help each other out and stuff like that, but they're all evil. This guy is a rebel. He's just like against all the Ultras. He wants to be on the good side because the Ultras are supposed to be evil pretty much. And Sting, he's like a scorpion stingray. I guess you could tell kind of he's like a scorpion stingray fish because scorpions are like my favorite animal. So yeah, obviously I had to do something like that. And Scorpere, I'll actually explain a bit more whenever we get to him because this is Ultra Scorpere, which is obviously quite a bit different. But yeah, so this guy was pretty simple. I feel like there's one more thing I want to say about him, but I can't remember what I wanted to say about him. Oh, I mean, another thing I just remembered is that, like, you could see him a little bit on the Death Fang design for the Fierce Fighters packs. I don't have the Peller pack right here, the Peller design for the packs. That one's just not here right now. I don't know why, really. Super Electric. Hold up. I dropped some of these. Super Electric. Yeah, so an electric eel. Pretty strong electricity he can make. He's, as you can see, he's pretty much murdering a fish right there. And making a lot of bubbles. I like this guy. He's actually a pretty cool character. Pretty basic, though. He can do 80, pretty strong bite. And Electric Shock, obviously. Electric Shock is a pretty good attack. Yeah, I mean, he's an electric eel. What do you think he's not going to have Electric Shock? Next up, we got... Wait, hold up. I accidentally put these cards on a different deck. I just gotta fix that. Okay, that's fixed. Talk. So Talk is in a little bit of the story. Like, you can see he's in the far back kind of the page. He's in a bit of the story. He controls all time, so he's actually a really important character for the way of life of Fierce Fighters, but he's super rare to find is the idea of him. As you can see, he's just in front of the world there. There's the sun of the world and stuff, and yeah, he's just flying in space. Pretty simple drawing. Time reverse. He can time reverse a little bit, but the idea is if time reverses too much, too often, it messes up the flow of time. And he obviously does not want to mess up the flow of time since it's his obligation to control time. And Wing Slap is pretty weak attack, but yeah. And 200 lives, I made him have that much just because he's such, I don't know, just the idea of him controlling time must mean that he can live for a pretty long time, so yeah. Now we got Tyrosaur. Pretty simple character, kind of like a Spinosaurus. Or, yeah, kind of like a Spinosaurus. He's carrying a little tree with his tail. Yeah, he's a pretty big character because he's like a dinosaur. Tail slam, bite. Yeah, pretty basic character. Trapage. So, I think I drew this guy on Christmas Day. I think just a kind of fun fact. This guy is just swinging around his wrecking balls. Pretty much, I think we went over Cragel earlier. And I think we did Crage too. I don't actually remember. But I'm pretty sure we did Cragel earlier. So yeah, Trapage. He kind of has like wrecking balls for arms, which can hurt pretty badly if you get smacked by those. And he's kind of just in front of a crop field with some windmills in the far back. And he's big enough to trap an opponent in his door. So like, yeah, it would look like a character being under his cage bars pretty much. And yeah, I think I already explained the art. Tridirk. So he's just like a trident fork, whatever you'd want to call it, holding two other smaller forks that are blue. fork throw and head stab. Yeah, I guess that's what you would expect from him. And yeah, the drawing's pretty much just him with some fires in the background, some other characters, the UFO power-up flying down there, a little fire truck right here. Quite a lot going on, actually, for a card, and a little Fierce Fighters hotel in the background. You could see a fancy hotel. Yeah, you could probably got about I think we got Hantena, and is that Machane or Channel? I don't know if that's Machane or Channel, but yeah, pretty basic character. Wait, what? Hold up, there's 2 Robochops? Wait, no way. Let me see. 2 Robochops got printed in. Is that true? I guess it is. Oh, I did not know I had 2 Robochops. Okay. Yeah, they look exactly the same. Okay. That's kind of funny. I didn't know I had 2 Robochops. Katil. So, Tail Smack is, Oh, wait, hold on. I think I know what I did here before. There was, like, some test prints before that ended up being accurate, so that's why I went for the final print, and I actually got those mixed up in here. So hopefully we'll find all the extras today and be able to pick them out of the deck. Well, not today. I don't know if I'm going to finish this whole thing today. Katil. He is swimming in the ocean, going after some fish pretty much. There's a big island in the background. I like how this ended up looking. Yeah, I actually like this one quite a bit. Yeah, he just Neil. Nothing really too special about him. Tail Smack. And I remember I talked about Regenerate before for Super Katil. I just don't really know why I came up with that and decided to have him have that. Super Spur Sting. So he's like a platypus with a turtle shell, pretty much. But obviously, since he's a super, he's got some kind of weird eyes. I do that to a lot of the super characters for some reason. Call for help. Yeah, he can call for help with some of his opponents. But he calls so loud that it does damage. Like it kind of hurts, You know what I'm saying? You don't like to hear loud sounds because it'll hurt you, right? It'll hurt your ears. Sting, yeah, he's a platypus. Platypus can sting with their feet if you didn't know that. So that's the idea of that. I actually ended up looking pretty good with this thingy sticking out of the water. That turned out decent. So yeah, I actually like the art of this card quite a bit. Super Vampire. Vampire, that's how you're supposed to say it, not vampire, because that's a real life thing. Vampire. So he's just... It's a dark card, but you could kind of see the little cave drop in the background and then the stars under it. And he's just flying. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. He can obviously transform into a bat, because a bat, as in the bat, like the Fierce Fighters version of bat. I should probably put an extra T then if I meant it that way, but I think I'm too far in to fix that by now. I don't know. But yeah. I guess we'll probably find Bat later. He's like one of the lamest characters in this whole game, but yeah, a pretty simple character. All right, next up we got Corrupstar. So, yeah, I went over Super Corrupstar pretty recently. This card can be attacked for, yeah, because he digs. Pretty much the same thing as Super Corrupstar. There's kind of just a storm going on in the background behind him, and he's kind of like coming out of a hole. It says Corrupsoul Park because Corrupsoul's his first version, so yeah, just like a little park for them. Strike. Pretty boring character. This is one of the earlier ones I drew too. He's just a cloud. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a lightning cloud with pouring some rain and lightning too. Yeah, it's a pretty basic drawing. Nothing too special about it. Lightning strike 20. Yeah, I mean that's gonna hurt if he lightning strikes you. Gas trail. That's actually kind of weird, but it kind of makes sense. Super Chompster. So, yeah, Super Chompster was, like, the 4th card I drew, so I completely redrew the character. Like I said before, if y'all want to see the old versions of the cards, yeah, you could just ask me, and I could show them, like, a video or something, or in my Discord server. And, yeah, so he's just kind of peeking out of the waves, almost like he's going to attack something, even though nothing's there. So, yeah, I completely redrew him, so pretty special card, though. He was one of the earlier ones. So, yeah, I mean, the art's pretty basic, just him in the ocean. Super Skullton. So he's like a skeleton with some of the ghost friends, his ghost minions, pretty much. And he can call some ghosts, is the idea, pretty much. He calls them over, and they can help him out. And it does 10 more damage each time you use it, because it's just like more ghosts come. And that obviously makes him more powerful. He can scare, too, because he's pretty scary. And, yeah, there's kind of like a little rainstorm, I guess you could see in the background, some spooky trees. And I like how this one ended up looking quite a bit. He's also a pretty powerful card if you get him too. Super Trapage. So yeah, this guy is way bigger than Trapage. He's like a gigantic cage. As you can see, there's just a little storm going on. There's some background details and stuff. You can see the lightning reflecting. This one ended up looking pretty cool. I like it. Just of the quick second where the lightning is, you could see it. And yeah, the trap, he can obviously trap. And the card is disabled because you can't do anything when he's in Trapage is ultra strong metal cage, you know. And whack, yeah, that would hurt very badly if you got whacked by that, as I said before. So yeah, I like how this one ended up looking quite a bit. So here's Bat. Probably one of the lamest cards I've made too. And also, I think it's the second weakest card in the entire game. I think Snow is number one. We'll probably get to him later. But yeah, he's kind of just on the roof. Some rain's dripping down. He can do 10 damage, which is the least amount of damage any card in the game does. So next, we got Axel. Okay, so the first Axel Fierce Fighters card, I think quite possibly the first card I ever drew in Fierce Fighters. No, I think the first card, yeah, it's like probably the fifth card I ever drew, as in like the old versions of the cards, like the very first paper cards. Axel is a very classic character. So yeah, he's just pretty much a walking axe is pretty much the idea of him. He's kind of just chopping down a tree over here. Pretty basic background, kind of like a downwards view of him. And chop, it does 40 damage to itself though, because it hurts himself. As you can see, he's not the sharpest axe in the world, so yeah. This one ended up looking okay. It looks a little bit weird, but it looks alright. Next up, we got Sola. So Sola is also a pretty big character, and he's actually not a big character in here, really. It's more Solar than Sola in this book, but yeah. Fire Flares, 40. That's actually a pretty good amount of damage for only having 50 lives and being able to do 40 damage. But yeah, he's pretty much just like a little star character. And the art is pretty self-explanatory, just kind of flying in the sky. I'm a shark. This character idea was pretty weird, just like a black shark with kind of some golden strips on him. And I drew this card quite a while ago. I think this was there with like probably one of the first 20 cards I drew in this entire game. And yeah, there's an island in the background, kind of swimming in the ocean. Pretty simple drawing. He can eat anything. That's the thing special about him. He can literally just eat anything, and that'll help heal him. He's just like immune to anything bad that he eats. And bite, he's a shark, you know, he can bite. But he's not as much as a shark as Chompy, who we just so happen to have next. So yeah, Chompy was the second card I drew on the iPad, because Bite was the first, Chompy was the second, Chompster was the third, and then Super Chompster was the fourth, and then Magi was the fifth, and so on. And yeah, of course, I completely redrew the shark character again, but I didn't really edit the background that much. The background ended up looking pretty good, actually. Bite, 20 damage. That's actually really bad for having 80 lives and being a shark. I feel like it should do more, but yeah, I guess not. But yeah, pretty simple character. He's just swimming in the ocean. It's a little ocean background. I like how I ended up looking. I mean, the original version was pretty damn bad, but yeah, I ended up fixing it, of course. Cricket. Cricket is, it comes from Cricket. He's the cricket characters, pretty much. You could see some buildings in the background. Pretty basic character, just flying in the sky. Yeah, all the Cricket drawings that level, the 4 levels of him, they're all pretty basic drawings. He can just bite. So, Finfang, he's a deep-sea scary creature. Pretty scary creature. That's kind of wrong. Scare is supposed to disable, not bite. I don't know if I'll fix that. Maybe I will. So yeah. I don't know if I'll fix that, actually. I guess it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, it's supposed to be scare is the thing that disables. And he's just in the middle of the deep ocean, got the glowing eye. And it ended up looking pretty nice, actually. But you can't see the little hills I drew in the background. They're very hard to see. Because it prints a lot darker than you draw it. So actually, that was one of the big problems of the old version cards I made, was that a lot of them ended up being way too dark, so I had to brighten them a ton. And even though I brightened them a lot, you still can't even see too much on them sometimes. But you could see enough to where it's fine. Yeah, so the art of this one's pretty simple. He's just in the deep ocean because he's a deep-sea creature. Cricket. Okay, Cricket yeah, just a little bug in front of some flowers. Pretty boring character, I guess. He's a, oh, wait, this might actually be the weakest character in the whole game. Only 30 lives and 10 damage. I think it has the same stats as Snow. So, yeah, this is a very weak character. Yeah, it's like the weakest in the game, as I said. So, yeah, I guess that's one special one to get because it's so weak. So, Dolphy, War Call 20 plus. The idea is that whenever it does a War Call, you could get one of your other characters that helps it out, pretty much is the idea. And bite 40, yeah, he can bite. So Dolphy is an octopus dolphin hybrid. I think we went over Octan before, one of the other characters, the version before Dolphy. Yeah, so the drawing's pretty simple. You can see he's catching a little fish just in the ocean. So D-Man, character might actually be pretty important. It might be kind of like the same situation as Ghost, except if it's a really evil character who's done bad things in his life, he turns into this, something like that. I don't know really what I'll decide. But yeah, D-Man, pretty evil character, starting a fire just in the middle of nowhere, kind of, because he's evil. Evil spell, too. So yeah, D-Man is just a bad guy. He's not the kind of character that you want to be around in the Furious Fighters universe. And, oh yeah, the drawing for this is pretty simple. He's just starting a fire in the middle of nowhere, just burning something up, I guess. Cotier. This guy is like kind of like a saw blade. I think you would call it a saw blade, I guess. Like, just, his limbs are saw blades. Saw blades and 6, his head is a saw blade. He can do saw slice and the Rim of Death. Rim of Death is actually, it's a pretty weird one, because sometimes you really want to use it, but it does 80 damage to himself, which is pretty bad. Ultra Strike. So Ultra Strike is an Ultra character, obviously, so that means he'll be pretty rare. He's cooler than Strike, too, I definitely want to say. Strike is just a pretty lame character. Yeah, so I actually like how this looks quite a bit. He's like striking lightning at the sea. That kind of looks cool. Ultra Strike is going to be a pretty big character because clouds are pretty big usually. And yeah, he's obviously going to be rare because he's an Ultra. Plesio. Well, yeah, Plesiosaurus pretty much, as you could probably tell. Just swimming in the ocean. There's an island back there. And you could see all these little fish around him. Just kind of goes to show how big he really is and how the waves compare in size to him. So Plesio is another very big character, but all he really can do is bite. But I think I would say that they would probably be like a pretty friendly to humans. I don't really know. He's not really too much of a special or important character, so it's probably not going to be a whole lot with him. Now I got Vampire. We already went over Super Vampire, but not normal Vampire. So, yeah, he's just in front of a gate with a moon in the background. Pretty basic drawing. And just standing there, just chillaxing in the middle of the night, I guess. Bat Transform. The same thing as a Super Vampire, pretty much. Just a little weaker than Super Vampire. Yeah, I like how the drawing ended up looking, though. It looks pretty cool. Super Stellar. So this character is very important in some of the stories. He's going to be very important, very big part. The Stellars and Super Stellars are both going to be very important ones. So this drawing is just him shooting the lasers from the side, the heat rays, and some lightning clouds in the background. Just him going really fast in the sky. So Explode is just suicide, but he's a star. So if he explodes, it does a lot because he's obviously not nearly the size of a star. No way, but like he's supposed to be a much smaller version of a star. Kind of like a weird star, but yeah, Super Stellar is pretty important. I like Super Stellar, though. I like how the drawing ended up looking. Flip Hop. So this is probably one of the lamest characters in the whole game, actually. It's kind of just a weird, spiky polar bear. I used him whenever I was running out of ideas, drawing the paper ones, but yeah, and then there's nothing special about the art, really. Pretty mid character. But Jump of Death, 80 plus. It's one of the, I think, 2 or 3 coin-based attacks in the entire game. One of the only luck attacks in the game. But yeah. Pretty simple drawing. There's just a little cave over him, some snow in the background. Then we got Super Fro-Cube. So I drew this one on a plane ride before, too. I've drawn a good amount of these on plane rides, actually. Q-Black, he can Yeah, it does 90 less because the ice cube slowly breaks as he keeps whacking you with it and stuff. Ram 80, that's actually pretty good, Ram. So this guy's, his life number is pretty low for level 4 super card, but yeah, he's a pretty decent card. The drawing's pretty simple. It's just him running with those ice cubes up, ready to attack, some mountain background, just giving the idea that he's in a pretty cold climate, because if he's in a warm climate, he's going to melt to death, so yeah. Cropsol. I think we went through Cropstar and Super Cropstar, but not Digsel yet, I'm pretty sure. So we're almost done with this guy's level. So Poke, yeah, he's a pretty simple character. He's from one of the really old card games. The idea of him is from one of the really old card games I made when I was like, I don't know, 5 years old or something like that. The old version of him looks really, really bad in that game. That old card game I'm talking about right now is just really, really bad. Like, it just looks terrible, but some of the ideas I kind of like from it, and I ended up using Dig. This card can't be attacked for a round. You can only use this twice. Yeah, so he can Dig, but I decided to limit how much you can use it, because if you keep using it over and over in a row, then that's just annoying. That's not fair. So yeah. Woolly. So this ended up being kind of weird, because he was supposed to be like a woolly mammoth, but I forgot to draw him brown. I ended up actually just drawing him gray like a normal elephant. I was supposed to draw him brown like a woolly mammoth, but I guess that's just how he's going to be, because I already made super woolly gray too, so I'm not going to change all of that, alright? But yeah, Tusk Stab 60 and Ram 80. Pretty basic attacks. I guess that's what you would expect from him. Maybe a Trunk Slap too, but I think Trunk Slap is from Ellen or something like that. It's a pretty simple drawing. He's just standing in front of the waterfall pouring down. It's a nice little drawing. This was one of the last cards I ended up drawing. So, yeah, he was like one of the ending cards to finish the game off. I didn't explain this card's art, but I guess it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just kind of what I'm doing, just explaining each card's art. He's just in a little construction site, big hill in the background. Next up, we got Super Goose Stick. This is also near the end of whenever I was finishing drawing the cards. This guy, yeah, he's one of the last ones I drew. I didn't know what to do for him. Like I explained in one of the other creation videos I made of him, of transforming the all drawings videos, that I didn't really know what to do for him. Like I didn't want to just do another background with just trees, so I just decided to add a big tsunami wave coming over him, coming right after him, and yeah, that's about to wash him away. So this is pretty much the last few seconds of his life in this card. But yeah, so he can slap and sticky trap. I mean, that's pretty useless. All it does is disable. It only... I mean, probably no one's going to use Sticky Trap unless it does damage, but it doesn't do damage, so it's pretty useless. Carrot. So, yeah, he's a walking carrot. There's a couple characters like him that are just, like, walking fruits or vegetables, like Fruitage, Ornage, that version of character. I think there's actually only 2 of them that are really themed around that style, but, yeah, Healing Stem. He can heal with the stem. That's pretty cool. Then he can slap, too, because... I mean, yeah, what else would he do? I guess slapping would make more sense than kick, because he's got these little carrot hands and stuff. And there's that little weird Baltron photo on the building in that background. But yeah, he's just standing in the city waiting for the bus, I guess, because there's a bus stop right there. Next up we got Baltron. Oh yeah, I think we already went over Baltron before, but this is a duplicate. Like I said earlier, there were some duplicates in here, so yeah, so we found 2 duplicates so far. Let's see how many duplicates we'll find overall. So we got Goose Stick right here. Yeah, we just went over Super Goose Stick. They're pretty much the same thing, except Super Goose Stick has 4 eyes. And yeah, I mean, it's like the most basic background I could do, just trees and a hill and stuff. I didn't really know what else to do. And I guess you could see a little jet chemtrail in the background. Alright, I'm probably going to have to leave pretty soon to get a sip of water, because my voice is getting kind of tired, but I'll go a little longer before I come back and take a little break. Breathe Fire. So, yeah, Super Fire Warrior. He's just kind of just a basic dragon, I guess, but a little bit different. He's got some horns. I like how this one ended up looking a lot, actually. The fire looks kind of cool coming from his mouth, and like that jet attacking that building and that helicopter and stuff. This one's pretty cool. Tough skin, because he's a dragon. He has very, very tough skin. And Breathe Fire, yeah, he's a dragon, so that's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, I like that one quite a bit. I don't know if he'll really be an important character, although I might try to make him important because I like him. It's King Orbistar. So, if you didn't know, there's only 3 king cards out of the 189 character cards. So these are going to be the rarest ones in the entire game for sure. They're also the most powerful. King Polestar is the best card in the game by a long shot, I would say. And King Orbistar is also really good. It can do 70 damage to 2 cards at once. Which, if you didn't know if Fierce Fighters works, any damage, like, pretty much from any other card, besides Orbistar and King Orbistar and Super Orbistar, whenever you do 90 damage, like, for example, this guy, it just does it to 1 card if you didn't know that. But this guy is special. You can do it to 2 at once. And Supreme Heal, that could actually be pretty good if you're lucky to the point where you have a bunch of level 4 cards. So the drawing, it's pretty much just him in front of a black hole that's sucking in some rocks. And some, I guess that's also rocks. But, yeah, the way I came up with this, so... fun fact, there's only 2 cards in Fierce Fighters that are not inspired by old drawings. Those are King Polestar and King Orbistar. Those are the 2 cards in the game that are not, there's no old drawing versions of. I just came up with those because they are in one of the old Fierce Fighters books I made. And I know that if they're going to be characters in Fierce Fighters stories, they have to have a card of them too. Because then that means they don't exist if they don't have a card of them. So yeah, King Polestar and King Orbistar are also the last digital cards I ended up drawing because I decided I have to add those in or else the game doesn't really feel complete without them. And it would also make sense if there was only 1 King card too in the entire game, which would be King Galax. So yeah, that little fun fact about the King cards, I guess. Now, Ultra Moons, though. As I said before, Ultras are rare, very rare. So this guy will be pretty rare. You're pretty lucky if you get him. And there's also going to be the Ultra Packs I add in the game, which are going to make your chances be way higher of getting the Ultra cards. But those are going to cost a little bit more money than the normal packs, obviously, because the Ultras are rare. So yeah, he can have the Ultra Force Field protecting all your Ultra cards. That can be useful if you have multiple Ultra cards. And Scratch 90, yeah, he's got some pretty big claws, so that would be pretty damn painful. Carrot, he's just on a farm. Just some corn, and as you can see, our friend, would that be Ornage? Yeah, that's Ornage. Our friend Ornage is just chilling on the tree. There's a little tractor, I guess, but no, that's not a tractor. I don't know what that is. Just some weird kind of cart thing. There you can see a little shed, and Slap 30. He's a pretty weak card. I didn't explain the art of this card. Why am I forgetting that? Yeah, this guy just attacked a medical center, I guess. The truck is on fire. The building is on fire. Because Ultra characters they're all evil. Like, they're all against humanity and every other creature. They're all evil. Besides, as I explained earlier, Scorpion is different. Juggle. So Juggle is just kind of a creepy clown character. And Juggle is probably the lamest name I've ever came up with for any Fierce Fighters characters. But yeah, this drawing ended up looking alright. I remember the old versions of the cards, this and drawing ended up turning out so dark you couldn't even see any of the card at all, really. But I fixed that. You could see some of it, but it's actually still pretty dark. At least you could see the character with his clown knee hammer. And yeah, there's a Crush 60. I guess it would make more sense if it was called Hammer Crush or something, but yeah, whatever. Knockout 20. Yeah, I can knock people out with his hammer. Because if you get hit in the head with a hammer, you're going to get knocked out, right? And yeah, the art of the card is pretty much just him terrorizing a neighborhood, I guess. He's just in a neighborhood. And a little fun fact about this card, I thought this card was going to end up looking horrible. It was just a really lame character, I felt like, but it actually ended up looking pretty cool, so that was kind of cool. Propel. So he's one of the flying box characters. He can ram, which will just kill himself and explode himself, but it does quite a bit of damage. Shoot, yeah, he's got those little gun things on the side too. There's a plane next to him, and yeah, he's just in the sky. Pretty basic character. Basil. So Basil is just a really weird character. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He was also one of the last digital cards I drew before I was done, but yeah, there's just a sunset behind the mountain. And if you look in pretty closely, you could see a little rock Basil statue representing him. I guess that's what the resonance of this mountain built or something. I don't know. This character, it's a pretty weird character. I don't really know how I came up with him. I came up with this guy, like, whenever I was running out of Fierce Fighters ideas completely, pretty much. So, yeah, he was, like, the last idea I had. Shell Guard, well, he could kind of go into a shell like a snail, I guess. But, yeah, pretty weird character. Chom, he's like a Venus flytrap, pretty much. He has a very long tongue. He's just, I guess, behind a fence. I don't really know what the idea of that would be, but just a forest there. He can bite, and he can choke with his tongue. His tongue is pretty thick, so yeah, he could choke someone out with his tongue. And Super Chom. Speaking of Chom, we got Super Chom. So Super Chom, his tongue is so sharp that he just goes through a tree with it. This is a pretty plain drawing, but it actually ended up looking alright. And bite 80, tongue choke 40. Yeah, nothing really to say about it. It's pretty basic. Chompster. So, yeah, Chompster, we're back to these shark guys. I think this is the last one out of the shark guys that I'm planning on going over. Well, I mean, I'm planning on going over every card. I didn't really know how else to say that, but yeah. He's going for those fish over there, trying to eat those fish. There's the bubbles, because he's swimming pretty fast. I actually like how this drawing ended up looking. I mean, obviously, I fixed the whole shark character, as I explained earlier. But yeah, and then bite 80. All he can do is bite, really. Now we got Super Machine. So, Super Machine, I didn't know what else to draw for him, so I decided to draw him standing on a plane wing. I actually like how this ended up looking. And, yeah, just imagine riding on a plane and then looking outside and you see this guy standing on the plane wing. But, yeah, he's just having some fun. But he's probably going to die really soon from the G-forces or falling off the plane wing. But, yeah, Chain Slap, 70, and that's all he can do, really. It's all his abilities. And Sucker. Alright, so fun fact about Sucker. Sucker is the first paper card of Fierce Fighters I ever made. There was just one day where I was bored, I didn't know what else to do. So I decided I should make a little card game. So Sucker was the first character that came to my mind. I was just like, okay, I'll draw this squid character. So then I made Sucker, Inky, Inkmaster, Super Inkmaster, Axel, Scorpere. I'm pretty sure that was it. And then I just dropped the game, forgot about the game for about a year. And then after a year, that's whenever all these characters came out. Whenever I made up all these characters that year, I was going crazy in February of 2020, something like that. Just making up a bunch of characters. And yeah, that was fun though, making all those paper characters. I enjoyed it a lot. And I enjoyed playing the paper game too with friends and family and stuff. So yeah, a little bit of a backstory for Fierce Fighters. If you did not know that fact, Sucker is a pretty important character, I guess. Well, not really in the series at all, but just for the backstory. But yeah, the drawing's pretty simple. He's just swimming in the ocean. Some bubbles from his tentacles because it's the ocean. Yeah. And he can spray ink because he's is he an octopus or a squid? I don't know. Yeah, definitely more of a squid than an octopus. Super Dragonator. So I think we went over Nader earlier. Yeah, pretty early. Nader is one of the earlier versions of him. This is the level 4 version. Super Dragonator actually did not take that long to draw. It was pretty simple, just some clouds and lightning. But I think I had trouble drawing the shape of his mouth for some reason. I had trouble keeping a straight line while drawing the shape of his mouth, so that was kind of annoying to deal with. But yeah, Breathe Fire 90, that will hurt to get breathed with fire. So yeah, and that does the puzzle effect. Just the idea of your eyes are burnt and you can't see anything and you feel pretty bad because you just got burnt by fire. And Tail Whack too. I don't know why anybody would ever use Tail Whack, but it's just there. Super Inkmaster. So yeah, this guy, it's just explained with Sucker. So this guy is the 4th Fierce Fighters card I ever drew from the paper versions. And yeah, he's just coming out of the water and just making a little splash, I guess. Suckin', that's very powerful. And I could see why. That's overpowered, and that's because that was one of the first attacks I ever made up for a character, so yeah. I guess I didn't really know how powerful that would be, but I ended up keeping it because, I don't know, I just thought it was kind of cool. So we could suck in, I don't really know how that would work. I guess his mouth just can do that. And Super Spray 60. Super Spray, wait, what would he spray with? Oh, ink, yeah, he would spray with ink. So, yeah, just the basic sea monster squid character, I guess, kind of like that. Lunatic. So this guy's not really anything, really. He's just a weird creature that I made up. Quite a lot of them are like that too. And you can see Jealous standing in front of a breaking building and stuff. It's supposed to be like a movie theater. Well, that wouldn't really make sense if it was a movie theater and had lights on like that. But yeah, terrible scream. 90. The scream is so terrible that it hurts you so bad that it does 90 damage and it puzzles you. And he can eat anything to heal, like Mashark. Him and Mashark can both eat anything to heal. So I guess they're related. Yeah, pretty weird character, but I like how this one ended up being, actually. Alright, we got Trotter. Okay, that's another duplicate. We went over Trotter earlier. Inky. So we're getting a lot of the Squid characters right now. Yeah, so I explained the whole story of these Squid guys, but Inky, he's just moving in the water. You can see some of the bubbles, the sand background stuff, spray ink, slap, like the same as the others. Super Care Attack. This guy was kind of confusing to draw. Yeah, he was pretty confusing to draw because I made his arms tangle around the trees and stuff like that. So he's got really long arms. He's like a living carrot. The edges of his arms are supposed to be pretty sharp. He could stab through the trees, as you could see on that one tree. That's the idea of it. Ram and Kick, 100. That's actually pretty powerful. Quadruple Punch. It does 120, but you can't use it on your next turn. 120 is quite a bit, though. Not a whole lot of cards that do that. I think like Super Stowler is one of the only other ones that does that. So yeah, this guy's good. It's a good card to have. And yeah, I guess I kind of already explained the art. He's just ripping trees out of the ground and destroying them pretty much. Getting ready for some fights. Super Blizzard, a big snowman bean-shaped kind of guy, I guess. I mean, he's throwing a snowball in a blizzard, and Blizzard, I guess that's how I made up the name pretty much. Chill Wind, 50, he can make some chilly wind, snowballs. He can make snowballs because he's a snowman, and he can just take from himself and make snowballs. So, yeah, I mean, pretty basic character, I guess. Super Cyclops. So this guy is like a male mermaid, pretty much, was the idea. This was like one of the last ones I drew from the paper version, so I was really running out of ideas when I made this guy. But yeah, he's like has a broken submarine in the background. He just destroyed some Sea Searcher. The Sea Searcher 700 is what it says. Then there's some fish that are kind of bleeding. You could kind of see the red water. Knockout Punch, Bite. It's a pretty weird character, but it actually ended up looking cool. Ultra Psycho. So another Ultra character, Psycho. We already got Psycho a while ago explained. He's kind of just like a furry ball monster character. Ultra War Call. Yeah, I can call some of his Ultra friends to help. 60. Yeah, scratch 60 because he's got pretty damn long nails. So yeah, that would make sense. He's kind of just, I guess, attacking a neighborhood. There's a fire in the neighborhood. A tree is broken. Doesn't look like the best neighborhood to live in. Well, not the best neighborhood to live in if Ultra Psycho's there. Mosquito. A big mosquito. That's what he is. Just a big mosquito. I mean, yeah, I don't even know how I came up with this, really. Sickness, bite. You know, mosquitoes can make you pretty... Rarely, like in some countries, the mosquitoes can have diseases, if you didn't know. That's why they're considered to be one of the most dangerous animals ever. But sickness, bite, flip a coin. Yeah, this is, I think like 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 luck-based attacks, flip coin attacks in the whole game, as I said earlier. And yeah, he's just kind of flying in a neighborhood. I think this guy is just really scary to imagine, like a humongous mosquito flying at you. Just sounds like a nightmare thing. So yeah, I would not want that to be real. Fire Roar. Oh, actually, that would be kind of interesting. Like, what do y'all think would be a cool Fierce Fighters character? What Fierce Fighters character do you wish was real in this world, if you could choose one? That'd be interesting. Y'all could tell me in the comments if you're watching a YouTube video or wherever you're hearing this. You could just, it might be on the Fierce Fighters radio station thing I'm hosting on my Discord server. I don't know where you're hearing it from, but yeah, that would just be an interesting question. Which Fierce Fighters character would you wish would be real? So we got Fire Roar now. He's pretty much the same as Super Fire Roar that we went over earlier, except not as strong, really. But yeah, pretty simple drawing, just flying in the sky. And there's this weird egg-shaped plane thingy in the background. Zeppelin, I guess. Marilla, He's kind of just a gorilla, but Marilla. So he's not really that special. Pretty basic character. Mega Punch is pretty powerful. Super Volume is another one of the rare luck-based attacks. The flip coin. Goomush. Or I guess I'll explain the art of this card, kind of. He's just punching a tree in front of a hill. Pretty basic. Goomush, yeah, a big blob of purple goo, like the other guys. He's just in front of a post office. Nothing really that special about him. Chan. So, the earlier version of Machamp and Super Machamp and stuff, he's just standing in front of a very big bush, I guess. I don't know what that would be exactly, but I didn't feel like making another sky background for another card because I use it way too much. Yeah. This ended up looking alright. It's a pretty basic drawing. And all he can do is kick because he's pretty small. 30 lives is I think the lowest life number any card has in the game. But there's I think there's a decent amount of cards that do have 30 lives though. Langler. Okay, this one ended up looking kind of cool. So he's just like an anglerfish, but do you know what a gar is? I'm wondering if y'all know what a gar is. Like, he's kind of like an anglerfish mixed with a gar. And, yeah, he's just searching the underwaters. This one ended up looking pretty cool, actually. Flickering Light. That's a very useless attack, but I guess you can use it if you want to. Bite. Yeah, he can bite because he's got some teeth over there. And, yeah, pretty basic character. I think I was saying that for a lot of them, basic character. I probably said that maybe like 100 times by now, but there's 189 characters, and making up that many characters, I've definitely started to get limited of ideas on those, running out of ideas. So we got Pell right here, another one of the flying box characters. He'll actually be pretty important. The flying box characters might be pretty important in the tech development story. I think that'll be like the title of it or something like that. It'll be about the humans developing like the robot Furious Fighters characters. That's what the story will be about. Yeah, he's just flying in the sky, shooting a couple bullets as you could see, and shoot. So I think this is one of the only cards in the game that can do more damage than the life number that it has. And 30 lives is really weak, but shoot, 50 damage for a level 1 card is actually really good for a card that weak. So we got Kobe. So Kobe has the same exact life number as this guy, as you can see. He does as much damage as the life he has. I guess that's kind of interesting. I don't know if there's a lot of cards like that. Actually, never mind. There's probably a good amount of cards like that. But yeah, there's just a sun setting in the background and kind of just like a fall style. Pretty basic character, just a snake. Super Cricket. Very big cricket. He can bite and pinch. The bite will give off a little bit of venom, which obviously venom is not nice, so that won't feel very good to the attacked person. And yeah, he's just flying in the sky. Pretty basic character. Wait, did I seriously say pretty basic character again? Okay, I kind of sound like a bot like when I say that. Yeah, so he's actually not that much of a basic character. His eyes glowing and stuff like that. And he's kind of a cool character. Trapalf. Yeah, another one of the Venus Flytrap series of characters out of those 4 ones. He's just in front of a little forest. Okay, Ultra Baltron. Now this one, finally we got a very important character. So there's Polestar breaking a planet in the background. This one took a long time to make, and it's definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite character that I designed for the card. There's a Marshall flying a ship in the background. There's him standing on the moon. You see some of his Ultra Moons. So I actually don't know if this guy will be in much of the stories, really. I haven't really decided yet how much he'll be used in the stories and stuff. But he's a cool character. I like how this end up looking. And he's one of the strongest characters in the game for sure. Like, for sure. He can do 110 damage and has 210 lives. He's a really good card to have. I suggest you try and obtain an Ultra Baltron. But he's an Ultra too, which means he's very rare. Spurtus. So Spurtus is another platypus guy. Yeah, he's kind of just swimming in a river. He can call for help because he's not exactly the strongest character in the world. He has 3 attacks. There's actually not a lot of characters in this game that have 3 attacks, so that's kind of special. Small Sting. It gives off a little venom, which could kind of confuse the person, I guess, make them feel weird. Scratch, 40. Platypus. Oh, okay. We got Spurtus and Platypus together. I don't know. Would you say like Platypus or Platypus? Probably Platypus. Small Sting. Yeah, you could do a little Small Sting and Scratch. Yeah, I mean, nothing really that much about him because Spurtus is pretty much the same thing, and I just explained Spurtus. All right, now we got Skulton. So this guy, he's just in a graveyard because he's a skeleton. That's where he is usually. I don't really know what the story behind him is going to be exactly. I mean, he's a level up from Ghost, so I guess whatever the story behind Ghost is pretty much going to be the thing for him. But yeah, he can scare, he can kick. And I like how that drawing ended up looking, actually. Katil, okay. I'm like 99% sure we had this guy before. I think that's another duplicate one that accidentally mixed up in there. So cool that we found that. Spursting, okay. We got another one of these guys again. Spursting, just like standing up on a rock. No bikes, says the sign. That's what the sign says. Why did I say says the sign? It's like I'm narrating a story. Call for help. Small Sting. Pretty much the same things as the Spurtus that we just saw. We got Auk Dolphin right here. So, Auk Dolphin. Yeah, you would say like Octolphin, not Octolphin. So, yeah, he's an octopus dolphin. I think I said that before for Dolphy and Octan. Yeah, because he's a level up from those. So, Warcall and Bite. I don't really know why I chose Warcall for him, but I guess I just did. Sharkosaurus. All right, so this guy will be pretty important in one of the stories, like the start of the world, something like that. So Bite of Death is very powerful. Sharkosaurus is pretty good to have, but all he can do, Bite of Death is his only attack. But he's a big character. He's a dinosaur, but a shark. Pretty much the idea. Pretty simple idea. Chainel. Yeah, so this character is kind of boring. He's just on the background. I mean, he's just over a background with hills and trees. I don't really know what else to say about him. Cavit. Yeah, Cavit is also pretty boring character. I don't really know what else to say about him. He could slap, bite, just flying in front of the moon, a kind of spooky vibe, I guess. And he levels up from that, levels into Vampire. Punch Shroom. So this guy's a mushroom that can punch pretty hard. So he can punch, and he's a poisonous mushroom too. So, yeah, I kind of like how I came up with the idea that if a character uses bite on him, then it hurts themselves because they're biting into him. He's a poisonous mushroom. So it was kind of cool that I did that, I feel like. And the art, pretty basic. He's just punching a tree just on a hiking trail because there's a car parked here, something like that. Super Orbistar. So this guy will be, I think he'll be pretty important in one of the stories, but I don't know, really. I guess I haven't decided everything about the stories yet, but you could see a spaceship in the far back around the planet. Tell me if y'all could spot that. And he's striking some of the asteroids around him. Well, not really because there's like two of them, so I guess they are. But double attack, yeah, and heal. He can heal. He's got healing powers because he's some kind of magical star, pretty much. All right, so I am back. I'm not sure how many cards we have left to go, but let's get back to this. So next up, we got Spidisect. So Spidisect, we saw Super Spidisect earlier. He's like another monstrous spider. He's just standing on some train tracks here. I guess that's some kind of crazy train tracks in the background. That looks more like a roller coaster, but yeah, and he's flipping a little car over. I guess that's the art mostly. Web trap. He can make some webs, trap people in them. You know, he's a spider. He can do that, of course. And yeah, I guess that's everything about him, pretty much. Next up, we got Spidar. Okay, so Spidisect is level 3. Spidar is the number 1 version. You can see he's wrapping the tree with the spider web. Kind of the idea of the art, and just a little mountain house over here. A couple mountain houses down there. Yeah, so Silk Trap, as you can see, is one of his attacks. And Bite, because he has some pretty sharp teeth. Next up, we got Subra. So Subra is just a pretty basic cobra, okay? I mean, there's nothing really different about him than a cobra. And yeah, this is just him in someone's backyard with a water slide going into the pool and stuff. It's pretty basic. And tail slap, yeah. I mean, he could slap people with his tails other than the bite. The bite is actually kind of powerful. If you can use it at the right time and use it correctly, it's pretty powerful. Alright, so next up we got Super Peller. Yeah, he's another one of the flying box characters. He can shoot cannonballs out of his arms. He can shoot bullets from these other things, and he can fly pretty high. So, yeah, he can do one of these suicide attacks. that does a lot of damage, though. Actually, a pretty good amount of the cards do that. And Cannonball Blast does 100 damage, which is pretty powerful, too. It's a pretty good card to have, and I like how the art ended up being of this one a lot. There's, like, the dark cloud shooting the lightning and the rain, and then he's attacking a plane. It ended up being pretty cool. I like that card. Next up, we got Spida. That's kind of crazy that we're getting all the Spidasect things right now. So Spida, he's just munching on a tree, as you can see. Munch is one of his attacks anyways. Sneaky Steel. So I don't know why I chose this guy out of any card to have Sneaky Steel, but I just felt like doing that. Yeah, there'll probably be something about the story of this character related to that, even though he's not really a special character, and there's nothing that really stands out about him that much. But yeah, he's just in a neighborhood, I guess, eating a tree. There's a little waterfall right here. Pretty basic character. Yeah, I said that again unconsciously. Right here we got Rageous. He's like a dragon character. Yeah, so we saw Fire Roar earlier. Rageous is before Fire Roar. And I just imagined him blue for some reason. So Rageous is blue, goes into Fire Roar, which is red. I just kind of like the idea of it. I mean, you don't really see blue dragons too much. And it's also a different kind of dragon. It's not how most dragons look, which I kind of like about it. It's almost like a kind of an alligator dragon thingy. Even though there is a Dragonator, which literally is an alligator dragon. So there's Ground Rumble. He can rumble the ground. He's a heavy dragon. Of course he can do that. And then Levitate is just the idea of him flapping his wings enough to where he can levitate, but not enough to where he can actually fly like Fire Roar. And yeah, he's just standing in front of a restaurant. That's a pretty basic drawing. Now we got Robokill. So Robokill is pretty important from some of the tech character stories. I actually made a video about making a realistic drawing of Robokill, and I'll actually go grab it real quick. It ended up kind of being cool. It's right here. Yes. So this was my attempt to make a realistic drawing of Robokill, and this is actually pretty cool. So I might make a thing where there's like really special art cards that are like really rare to get. Maybe there's a certain pack that'll make it more common, and I think I'll use this art as the special rare art for the Robokill card. Yeah, I guess you can see the similarity. So that ended up being pretty cool. Yeah, Robokill, he's a pretty important character. I actually don't really like how the art ended up being on this one a lot. It's probably one of the worst cards there is, honestly. But yeah, he's kind of just destroying a tree, causing some havoc around here in front of Marty's Sports. Kill mode, the idea of it is just like, he turns on kill mode. So the first time you do it, it doesn't really do anything. It just does 10 damage. But then the second time you use it, the second time for this one, then his kill mode is on and he is ready to kill. And then Terminate is also really good if you're able to keep this card alive for a long time and just keep adding 20 damage and 20 damage again. That's pretty good. So yeah, Robokill, pretty important character. All right, so we got Scorpere. This was one of the really early paper drawing cards I made. I think that was the last paper drawing card I made before I abandoned Fierce Fighters for like a year. But yeah, Scorpere. I remember there was something I wanted to say about it, but I don't really know. There's nothing really too special about him. I mean, scorpions are like my favorite animals, so I was kind of how I came up with the idea. I just like scorpions and decided to mix them in with the stingray and just made this thing. And oh yeah, the art of this guy is pretty basic. He's just swimming in the ocean, some fish around him. A lot of cards are like that. Now we got Spicus. So the art of this guy, it's like there's a tornado around him. I just thought that would be cool than just putting a plain mountain background, making it like a storm style. There's some leaves falling down. It's definitely one of the darker cards though. So Search and Find, like Grimel that we saw earlier, he can do the same thing. And Scratch, he's got some pretty long claws. So yeah, he could definitely do that. Next up we got Pleat. Okay, I think we went over everyone else in his level area. So Pleat, yeah, just got a really long tongue, just pretty much a Venus Flytrap character. He's just in the forest here, next to pretty much a version of him, but it's just a sunflower rather than a living plant. All right, so Solar is pretty important in the book. He's a very important character. He's used in a lot of it. Solar, yeah, he's the level up from Sola. Yeah, that's Solar from Sola, and yeah, he's important. I don't really know what else to say about him, just that he's important. He's a big character. He's one of the space characters, and the space characters are always pretty important. Ultra Axle. Ultra Axle. So this card was annoying to draw, honestly. It was like all these trees and stuff. I was just like copying and pasting it pretty much. It wasn't even that fun to draw, but this guy, it ended up looking alright, the drawing. And yeah, he's kind of just knocking down a tree and then just a hill background. Ultra Revive. So that's kind of an interesting attack. It can revive a different Ultra card, but the revived card will only have 70 lives left, though, rather than having full health and stuff. And then Chop does a lot of damage to itself, so it's a pretty difficult attack to use. You can't always use Chop. You can't always use it without dying, what would be a better way to say it. Alright, so we got Ryor right here. Pretty simple. He's just walking in a snowstorm. Ground Rumble. So yeah, he can rumble the ground because he's a pretty heavy dragon. Pretty much the same thing as Rageous, but weaker. Or Ray just had the levitate thing. This guy does not have the levitate thing. So we got Novus. Okay, Novus. Another very important character in Fierce Fight as the Start of Resistance. You could see he's over here. He's used in a lot of the story. And yeah, I also don't know what else to say about him other than he's an important character. He has like a little force field around him. It's like that force field is what is used to connect two Novuses together. And when those two Novuses connect together, it makes an Orbistar. It's probably the idea I'll stick with. Heat Strike. So yeah, it does 20 damage to yourself just for the idea of whenever it strikes with the heat, that heat is taking away from itself because it's made out of heat pretty much. Next, one thing I just want to say is like, I'm kind of surprised if you're still watching this at this point, honestly, because this is pretty boring, but yeah, I just thought this would be fun to make, just to go over every single Fierce Fighters card and explain each one. Alright, so right here we got Rhynor. So this is kind of just like almost like a safari style background. I don't really know how to describe it exactly, but yeah, it actually ended up looking cool. That mountain, there's a place I went to in Africa one time, and that kind of gave me an idea of how I wanted to make this background look for Rhynor, because you know rhinoceros. Do you say rhinoceroses? I don't know. Rhinos mostly live in Africa, so yeah, it seemed right. And yeah, the background ended up fitting him quite a bit. I don't even know why I just explained all of that. But yeah, he can kick pretty hard because he's a rhino. He's got big feet. He's got big legs. He's kind of like a rhino, except shaped like, just like a really simple shape. Like shaped like a bug rather than actually a rhinoceros. And ram, yeah, he can run to somebody pretty hard. He can ram them, hurt them. And we got Ultra Psycho. So I think we went over Ultra Psycho before. I'm pretty sure we did, yeah. And also Bat, too. We went over Bat before. So those are the duplicates I got mixed up. I'm kind of glad I found those again, because I wonder where they went. All right, so now we got Mordor. Mordor, he's like just on a dirt track race. I put some sponsors in the background. I'm not going to explain what those sponsors are, but if you want to guess what they are, there's ways you can find out what those sponsors are. It's kind of an Easter egg. So spike wheels do 60 damage. Yeah, I mean, that would hurt, you know, just spinning spikes at you. Do donuts, yeah, then the same do donuts thing. Now I got Defang. So I think we went over Fin Fang, but not Death Fang or Super Death Fang. Yeah, Defang, pretty simple. He's just in the deep, dark ocean. I think Defang is on one of the pack arts. I'm not sure yet. I'm not going to dig through it right now. But Bite, that's an okay attack. I mean, for a level 1 card, that's okay. Super Firework is another duplicate, and so has Super Spidasect. And so has Spida. We also found another duplicate. Oh my gosh, I'm finding so many duplicates. I just found 3 duplicates in a row. And, okay, that also probably means that all of these are duplicates. We already went over Electric, right? I can't remember. Yeah, I think Electric was like one of the first ones, right? So I just found 5 duplicates. Okay. And that's interesting. I'm pretty sure the Ultra Marilla one is a duplicate. Yeah, did we go over Electric at the beginning? I think we did. I'm pretty sure we did. I'm just gonna go with it. I think we did. Next up we got Killbot. So yeah, Killbot, a very important character. I mean, for the tech development stories and some of those other stories I'm making, he's gonna be very important. And for some reason, I just kind of decided on the fact that Killbot is going to be the icon for Fierce Fighters, like the iconic character for Fierce Fighters. I don't know if that's going to end up being like that because he's not even on any of the pack arts, but I mean, we'll see. That's just what I imagine For some reason, it's just what I imagined Killbot being the icon of Fierce Fighters. Here, he's just shooting a truck. So Killbot, the idea is like he's supposed to be a bot that's good to humans, that protects the humans, and yeah, he protects the humans, so he's the good guy. RoboChop and RoboKill are probably going to be the bad guys. I think RoboChop is definitely going to be a bad guy, but RoboKill might be in the middle. I don't really know yet. But yeah, so he's shooting at a robber who's robbing the Bank of Sunland. As you can see, Sunland is one of the country names I came up with. Yeah, and kill mode, same thing as before for RoboKill. And shoot is pretty powerful. Killbot is a pretty good card to have. Dinosaur. Alright, so just a little dinosaur character eating some cherries or whatever that is. Kick and spin whack. Pretty simple card. Next up, we got Deathfang. Okay, Deathfang. I kind of like this character. He's pretty spooky. Just another deep sea creature. He's eating fish in this picture. Scare 50. Yeah, he can scare because he's pretty scary. He could scare someone, and he can bite. 80. Yeah, I think that's reasonable because his fangs are pretty sharp. All right, next up we got Isol. So Isol, he's just in front of a house. Yeah, just a frozen over house, kind of just icicles hanging from it. Isol, I kind of like how this ended up looking. Kick, that's a really, really bad attack because it only does 20 damage and it does 10 to itself, which is pretty bad. You just never want to use it really, but yeah, it's just there. Okay, so I thought Snow was tied for being as weak as Bat. Wait, let me see Bat. Let me find him. Or you would pronounce it more like Bat because there's 2 T's in it. Bat. So Bat has 40 lives but can do 10 damage. Snow has 30 lives but can do 20 damage though. So I think what was it? Kriskit. I'm pretty sure Kriskit is officially the weakest card in Fierce Fighters. So it's not Snow. I thought it was Snow. Yeah, so Snow is just a really basic snowman, actually. Nothing really different about him. And don't talk about those snowballs over there. I know they're a little weird color. But yeah, a pretty basic character. He's just in front of a snow hill. Next up, we got Mantinch. So Mantinch is kind of like a dinosaur mantis, I guess. Yeah, I would say that. The idea of this one, I don't think you could really tell, but he's like behind glass in a zoo. That's why it says, what does it say here? Mantinch exhibit. I think you could kind of read it. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Levels up from Antis. Yeah. He's quite different than Antis, though. It's quite the level. Antis to Mantinch changes quite a bit. Next up, we got Hantenna. So Hantenna, pretty weird character. So almost got like the beak of a bird, the shape of just an oval, the antenna of a bug, the eyes of a bug, I guess, the feet of a bird, but the wings are not of resemblance to any creature in Earth. So yeah, it's a pretty weird character. I don't really know how I came up with all this, but yeah, Hunt Down. So the idea of Hunt Down, it's kind of weird. I thought this would just be an interesting, unique attack to put on it. Hunt Down's like, it just haunts the opponent, like it stays with the opponent, and that's why it's like, so your opponent must keep this card till your next turn, but can't use its attacks. The attack card's now disabled. So, yeah, that's actually pretty powerful. If you use Hantenna correctly, that could be pretty well. But actually, in most situations, that's not that useful. The art for this card's, he's just flying in the night. Fish'em. So he's like a kind of a Cyclops fish kind of thingy. And Pesky Nibbles. Yeah, he's a little pesky nibbler. Tail Slap. Pretty basic card. And he's just swimming in the ocean. Yeah, I like this card actually, though. He's kind of a cool little character, even though he's nothing too special about him. Now we got Elephant. So he's actually nothing really special about him either. He's kind of just an elephant, but shaped like a bug. It's almost like a Rhinor. That's kind of what I do with them. So Elephant's just like a basic shaped elephant, and then Rhinor is just like a basic shaped rhino. But instead, Elephant has 4 different versions, though. Rhinor is a non-leveling card. So Trunk Slap 20, Noisy Trunk. Yeah, I mean, he can make a lot of noise if he needs to. And the art of the card is he's just standing in the rain, getting rained on. All right, now we got Super Wooly, the fourth version of Elephant, if you couldn't tell. So, yeah, as I said earlier, Super Wooly was supposed to be the colorful woolly mammoth, but I forgot to do that. So, yeah, this is how he's going to be. He's a flying elephant kind of mammoth thing, but not really a mammoth because he's gray. Yeah, there's just a plane in the background. It's ended up looking all right. It was one of the last digital cards I ended up drawing before the game was finished. Well, I say finished, but like after I finished the cards and I had to go back and fix each one a couple times because there was trial and error. But yeah, now we got Tyno. So Tyno, actually, I like how this one ended up looking. I mean, the background's really plain, but just the little Tynosaur coming out of the egg is I kind of like that. The idea of that. He's in his mama's nest, tail eat. So you know how lizards like can regrow their tail? I kind of thought of the same idea for this guy. Like Tyno can eat his tail and regrow it and bite. All right, so next up we got Ultrasonics. I think we went over Sonics before, but not Ultrasonics. But yeah, I mean, pretty much the same as Sonics, but you know, Ultra version. He's like a flying snake kind of thingy. And yeah, the art is pretty self-explanatory. He's just flying through the clouds. Munel, I don't know how you would say it. I think Munel. Fun fight, neck guard. Obviously, he's got the neck guard because he has like the really fat neck kind of thingy. And this one, I like how it looked. The volcanoes and the bubbles coming out of the volcanoes. It looks cool. I like it. But nothing really too special about him. We got Grimlet now. Yeah, Grimlet is pretty similar to Grimo. I think he just has some extra horns or something like that. I like the art of this one too, like the swampy kind of style. It ended up looking pretty cool. And Search and Find and Scratch, pretty much the same things as Grimo has. And I think as, I don't know, what's in level, oh, Spike is, yeah. Shred Shroom, so he's just like standing on some kind of ice and Arctic Ocean, something like that. I don't really know exactly what I even drew here, but it's obviously Arctic related, icebergs, something like that. Punch, yeah, he can punch, and spin on head smack. It's just like he spins on his head and that smacks you. And yeah, that's the idea of it. That would hurt. I feel like that would hurt pretty badly. Next up we got, okay, that's a duplicate. We already went over Defang. I'm finding duplicates here. Now I got Dig Soul. So yeah, Dig Soul, just like the mold character who levels up from Crupsoul. He's just chilling in his hole under the ground, just minding his own business. Pretty nice hole to be in, if you ask me. And Cladrill 50 Dig, I think it's like literally the same thing as Crupsar and Crupsoul. Now we got Frost. So Frost, he's pretty much just snow, but has a bunch of extra dots on him, I guess. Chill Wind, he can make some pretty chilly wind. It doesn't feel very nice. Snowballs, yeah, I mean, he could take snow for himself. The card is just him in front of a snowy background, kind of like the Christmas style trees. I don't know what you call those, like pine trees or something like that. I don't know. And there's a cloud with snow coming out of it. Looks pretty cool. Super Fruitage. I like Super Fruitage. Just the style of him, like moving fast across the forest trees and jumping from vine to vine. Nutrient Bite, so it's like the idea is somebody getting, when the people on his team taking a bite out of him, that gives him nutrients and heals him a little bit. And Super Slap, he can slap pretty hard. I mean, he's a super character. He has good abilities. All super characters have good abilities. It would be kind of interesting to find the worst super character. I don't know which one it is. I think Super Machane is the worst one, if I had to guess. I'm pretty sure it is. Cyclops. So the idea of him here is that he's just in an aquarium. I like how this one ended up looking a lot. I feel like I've seen this drawing so much, though. Like, I don't know. I've just looked back at it so much. I don't know why. Aquarium, so Bite, 50, and Body Slam, 90. That's a lot of damage for a Body Slam, but that does 20 to itself, though. Care Attack. Oh, this one's pretty cool. He's, like, jumping from tree to tree. Spin Attack, 10. He just spins really, really fast and then hits someone. But it's a little different because this card is puzzled after you use that. Because he just spawns so much, he's very dizzy. That's the idea of it. Punch, 80. Yeah, he can punch with his carrot hands. Pretty hard. Inkmaster, you would say more like Inkmaster, of course. So Inkmaster, went over it before. This is the third paper card that I ever drew. Like, literally just the third one. So it's a very old character idea. Yeah, he's kind of just the basic sea monster squid style. A lot of bubbles around him. Pretty basic drawing. Suckin is very powerful. Super Spray is... That's alright. It's not great. Super Stretch Room. Stab Punch, 110. Stab Punch, yeah, 110. That's pretty powerful. He's just going across with his vine. Spiky head guard. Yeah, those spikes on his head guard him. And nothing else to really say about him. Blizzard. So, like the kind of bean-shaped snowman, I guess. He has a top hat like snowman. And he got an igloo next to him. Kind of cool mountain background. Pretty basic. Chillwind, 30. And snowballs. Yeah, nothing else to say about him, really. I think that he was one of the earlier paper cards I made. But I can't remember for sure, though. Ultra Rigrock. So, Ultra Rigrock, this character is an Ultra character, obviously. I mean, yeah, you could see that. He's a pretty rare one, too. And he's just, like, throwing a rock on a mountain, has a little fire next to him. The Forbidden Islands of Rigrock is probably what I'll call the island nation where they live, something like that. And I think there's going to be, like... I'm probably going to make up something called, like, the Rigrock Mountain, where that's where the Rigrocks live, and if you hike there, you're pretty much guaranteed to die because they're territorial. So the Rigrock characters will actually be pretty important. Alright, King Polestar. So this one is very important. King Polestar is the most powerful card in Fierce Fighters, for sure. It's got Gravitational Pull, which literally just lets you steal one of your opponent's cards for the rest of the whole game, and then it actually gives that card extra 20 lives whenever you steal it. King's Power, 110 damage thought too, and 220 lives is the most lives any card in the game has. There's a couple cards that have 210 lives, I think, but 220 is the most. And this is just him escaping from the Stowler and the Storm... What do you call those again? Starmies? Yeah, Starmies. I think... Wait. No. Wait, what do I call them? I remember I renamed that character, so I kind of forgot their name. So, yeah, Starnius. Their original name was Starmies, but then I changed it to Starnius. Gravitational Pull. Yeah, I already spoke about that. That's like the most powerful attack in the game. So the art for it is cool. It's super powerful, and it's one of the 3 king cards out of all the 189 cards. It's a super rare card, and if you get this card, you're really lucky, and you're probably going to win any battle, honestly, if you have this card. So, yeah, a very good card to have. It's a pretty special card. He's going to make he's going to make a pretty big part in one of the stories, too, one of the Fierce Fighter stories. So we got Bumby now. Bumby is just a simple shape to be. Yeah, I guess that's a good amount of my characters are just simple-shaped animals. Sting, 90. So, it actually does a lot of damage. It does more damage than Elisa has, which is pretty good. But it goes for the idea of, you know how, like, bees in real life, if they sting you, like, they'll die if they sting you. So that idea went for him, too. And bite. I mean, I don't even know if bees have teeth, but, yeah, I guess you can bite. Cyrun. So, Cyrun just kind of cruising through the desert in this card a bit. And just going pretty fast. But it's a pretty simple drawing. Yeah, he can eat. Eat is pretty powerful. Spike Wheels is pretty good. Cyrun is a pretty good card to have. Well, Super Cyrun is better than Cyrun. But, yeah. Boomzo. I think this is, wasn't this one of my earlier cards? I actually don't remember. Harmful Scream. So his Scream is harmful. It is harmful. It just somehow is. Scratch, 80. His claws are really big, so it kind of makes sense. That building there's some buildings in the background. There's a laboratory in the background. I guess you could kind of see some details in the laboratory. Let me know if you notice what the details are in the laboratory. Now we got Crocodile. Okay, so Crocodile is probably the lamest or weirdest character I made. It's just like a crocodile, but it has like a thing around its neck. Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. I definitely made this one when I was running out of ideas. And this was also the last digital... Oh, wait, never mind. It was not the last digital card I drew. It was the third to last digital card I drew. The last digital card I drew was it was King Polestar. It was King Polestar. King Orbistar was second to last. That's something I forgot to mention where we were at King Polestar. So, ambush 40, he can ambush. He's a crocodile. Crocodiles are good at ambushing. And he can charge too. This attack does 30 damage to himself because it kind of hurts whenever it runs into somebody, that would hurt. So anyways, the drawing actually looks kind of weird. It kind of looks like he's behind the water, but yeah, pretty random character. Pretty mid character, I guess. All right, so now we got Starnius. Starnius is literally the first character that you'll find in this book. And he's an important character in the book, a very important character in the book, obviously. Super Burn does 70, but you can only use it once, and Small Burn does way less than Super Burn. But yeah, pretty basic character. I seriously just unconsciously said that again. I don't know why I keep saying that. He's not even that basic. He's like a star character with like a weird blue force field around him. And a very important character too. So now we got Stalar. Stalar is also a very important character. I don't think he's actually featured in this book yet, but he's going to be important in some of the upcoming stories, and so is Super Stalar. So this drawing, he's kind of just striking a window and starting a fire at it. That's kind of rude of him, honestly. Stalar is supposed to be like a really good guy, so I don't know why I made him do that. But yeah, heat raise 100 and explode. Pretty big explosion if he decides to explode himself. Octan. We went over this, right? I'm pretty sure we did. I think we did. Let me check here. No, but these are shuffled though. Since the beginning. Oh my gosh. I have no idea. I don't know if that's an extra. I'm pretty sure we went over Octan before, though. Antis. Didn't we go over Antis, too? No, we did not go over Antis. Yeah, we didn't. Antis, bite 20. The attack card is now possible. Yeah, he is for the idea of he gives a little bit of venom whenever he bites, which is not a very nice feeling. We all know how it feels to get bitten by an ant. Nobody likes it, right? Crage. The art for this card, pretty simple. He's just in front of trees in like a little park. Crage, yeah, he's just Crage, a cage just in a bedroom, pretty much, is the art of the card. And he can roll ram. Nothing too special about him. Bow and arrow. He's an alive bow, and he always has arrows on him. And all he can do is shoot with his arrows, as you could guess. This picture, he's just doing some target practice out in the forest, making sure his aim is good. Well, saying his, but I'm saying his, but it's not supposed to mean there's only one species of him. Pretty much every character in Fearless Fighters, there's multiple versions of, like animals in the world, you know what I'm saying? But the King Polestar, King Galax, and King Orbistar, they work weirdly, because, if King Polestar, two king characters can't exist at the same time since there's only one magical crown. And there's only one king character at a time that exists. That's how the Fierce Fighters universe works. So, Snake Whips, 90. That's pretty painful if you get whipped by a snake. I mean, I actually have a toy snake in this room that if you whip someone with, it hurts really, really badly. Worse than a whip, probably. Venomous Bite, the attack card will be, it just kills the card after a bit. Kind of how Venom works. Cobra, this one's really dark, actually. He's just sailing on a boat at nighttime on the sea. I don't really know why I chose that, to draw it like that. But yeah, Venomous Bite, Scratch. He can scratch with those little weird hand things. Ultramarilla, we got him before, right? But I think I skipped him because I knew he was a duplicate. Let me check. Yeah. Ultramarilla, so I didn't explain it before. Ultramarilla, the drawing's kind of just him landing down on a mountain. You could see a little sign there. It ended up looking pretty cool. Ultra Roll Ram can hurt pretty badly. And Super Fist Knockout, yeah, I mean, he could punch so hard he could easily just effortlessly knock out someone. Now we got Super Spicus. So, we're actually so close to done. But there's still power-ups after this. So, Super Spicus, just kind of jumping into the water. I didn't really know what else to draw for him, but this ended up looking pretty cool, actually. Super Death Fang. So, Super Death Fang, he is on one of the pack drawings, as you can see here. Oh, so is Pallor, too, but I don't have the Pallor pack right here right now. Super Death Fang, just a big scary fish, just like kind of like a fish from your nightmares, I guess. Bite 90 and double scare. He's so scary he could scare 2 people at once. Okay, my card deck just fell apart. Hold up, let me fix this. There we go. Okay, it's fixed. Peller. Yeah, so Peller is... Oh, no, Super Peller is actually the one who's on the other pack card, not normal Peller. So, yeah, Peller, pretty similar to Super Peller, just less detailed, less complex looking and stuff, and less powerful. Octoman. And, I will explain the art for it, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he's just flying in the clouds, shooting a cannonball from his arm. Haven't I not been explaining the art for that? Actually, I think I have been. I don't really know. Octoman... He can camouflage because Octopus can do that. Sticky slap. Because of those suckers on his arms, it makes it very sticky when he slaps, which doesn't feel very nice. Yeah, he's just on the beach out here, just chilling on the beach. There's some surfboards, just kind of like a beach resort setup, almost. Drader. All right, so we're very close to done. Yeah, Drader. He's just climbing a tree pretty high. He might fall and he might hurt himself, but he doesn't care. He can bite, and I don't see any reason why you'd use tail whack over bite, but it's just there. Now we got Super Octolphin. So Super Octolphin just got glowing eyes, just jumping out of the ocean pretty much. Warcall and bite. Yeah, nothing really much to say about him. He's like a strong, but he's a pretty small character though. Just like Octopus, kind of bigger than Octopus size a bit. Actually, there's a lot of different octopus in this world, so yeah, you can't really judge it by that. Super Tyrannosaur, he's a very big character. He's a dinosaur. He's as tall as these trees, as you could see, and he's just running around. And Body Crush, that would hurt very, very badly if a dinosaur sat on you, so that does 100 damage. And the attack card will only attack this card on their next turn, so it's just the idea of whenever the card is getting crushed, or the character that's attacking is getting crushed, then there's no other thing that you can attack than him because he's literally fully on you, so you have to attack him to get out. But yeah. And then he also has bite, which is pretty good. Alright, let me just get this deck straightened out. Alright. We have like 2 or 3 more. Well, no, we only have 2 more. So right here is Lily. Yeah, he's just a small eel kind of character, just swimming in the ocean, and nothing much to say about him. And I think, did we go over Frocube before? I'm pretty sure we did. I'm like 99% sure we did. Alright. So now we went over all of the creature cards. The most important cards. I'm holding 189 creature cards right now, and I just talked about all of them. That's pretty cool. So now we got 21 power-ups. These will be a little bit more weird to explain. Let me just shuffle them real quick. So the packs are going to be like, each pack, I'm pretty sure it's going to be 14 creature cards and 1 power-up each pack. So, yeah, it'll mostly be creature cards you're getting. So first up, we got Sawblade. I mean, yeah, it's just do 50 extra damage. It can, you can hold it in your hand and attack. It won't feel that nice. These are going to be quicker to explain, these power-ups, because there's a lot less to them. Healing Wand. Yeah, this photo, the Healing Wand is healing Talk and Strike, as you can see. Heal 21. So the thing about Healing Wand is it can only heal non-leveling cards. It can't heal leveling cards. So if you have no non-leveling cards, this is pretty useless. Healing Wand. For some reason, whenever I have a Healing Wand in a game, I never remember to use it. I always forget that it's there. It's a pretty useless power-up, honestly. It seems like it would be good, but it's not that good. Right here we got Cage. So, yeah, it literally just disables a card for the rest of the game, which means that the card cannot attack for the rest of the game, which is pretty good. So, yeah, that card will still exist. It'll still be alive, but it just can't do anything. So you just gotta kill it eventually. Force Field, also, I'll just say the art of this one. Yeah, it's just Jellish over here. I think that's Machain or Chainel over there. And Super Rigrock is trapped in his cage. Force Field. So, yeah, a very big Force Field, and it just protects all your cards for a turn. You can't be attacked for a turn. It's pretty good. If you use it at the right time, it could be really good. But it's pretty tough to time this at, like, an amazing time to use it. But, yeah, there's a lot of things getting shot at it. And as you can see, the force field protects all of it for a round. That's it. Scanner detector. So scanner detector can scan through walls and things like that, and it can find out the hidden deck of your opponent. And it can find out which cards are in. So you literally just get to look at the top 5 cards in your opponent's hidden deck, which if you're playing Fierce Fighters the normal way, that means that you look at all of your opponent's cards. So yeah, scanner detector, if your opponent is hiding really good cards, then that is pretty useful, because then you just got a warning that they have really good cards. That's what happens a lot whenever you play with someone else, is they'll lie and say that, oh, my cards are really bad in my second deck and stuff. But just never trust somebody whenever they say that, okay? UFO, we got Machane or Chain. I don't know. I always get the two mixed up. They look pretty much exactly the same. And Crop Star falling down from that. So what it does is it just magically takes away a character. Why am I saying card? It just takes away a character and then just transforms it into a different random character. So yeah, that's how it works. You just get one of your characters replaced. Or wait, is it one of your characters? No, it replaces your opponent's character, actually. So it could give it a worse or better character. You never know. Sometimes, so let's say your opponent has King Polestar and you use this. That's the best possible way to use it, because there's no card that gets better than King Polestar. But yeah, that's how that works. Now we got Repair Kit. It's kind of like an apocalyptic background. It's like red and there's like fire around. He's trying to repair his power-up before Killbot comes and kills him. So yeah, the Repair Kit literally is just take back one of your discarded power-ups, as you could see here. So you get to take back one of your power-ups, and the idea is that Repair Kit, repairs it. Now we got Warp Booth. So Warp Booth, switch the top card of your hidden deck with the top card of your opponent's hidden deck. So I guess you won't really know if you're switching it out. So let's say if you have a really bad card at the top of your hidden deck, then you're pretty much guaranteed to get a better card from your opponent's hidden deck. So Warp Booth can be pretty good sometimes. It changes which teams the cards are on, but you don't know which card you're going to get replaced. Time Machine, this one's actually kind of complicated. Anything done after your last turn is now undone, so you kind of have to remember everything that's changed in the last turn. So that's always kind of something to remember. I'll just explain. I haven't explained the art for this. Warp Booth. It's just warping rocks to the other booth rather than showing actual characters. And Time Machine, what's his name? Is this Isol or Frocube? I think that's... Oh, no, that's definitely Isol. No, it's not Isol or Freezy. It's one of the two. I'm pretty sure it's Freezy. Yeah, Freezy's just sliding into the Time Machine, trying to get it in as fast as he can. Now we got Virus. So Virus just makes every card feel bad for a round, like even yours too. But if you have some attacks that don't do any damage and do something really good other than damage, then that'll literally just not make your characters weaker and just make your opponent's characters weaker who do use damage. So Virus can be useful if you play it at the right times. Now we got Invisibility Cloak. Reveal the top card of your hidden deck. Yeah, so this is alright. It's not really that useful. I never really find myself using this one too much. And the art of this here, I didn't explain the art of Virus. Yeah, Virus is just... he's just there, lurking in the dark. Pretty scary. Invisibility Cloak, if you can't really tell what's going on here, it's part of him is hiding behind the Invisibility Cloak, so that's why you can't see part of him. That's why part of him gets cut out. Missile Bomb. So, yeah, Missile Bomb. Just a Missile Bomb. Pretty self-explanatory. Discard 2 of your cards and 2 of your opponent's cards. So, this can be useful. If you discard 2 of your cards and they're just, 2 really bad cards, then that's a good play. And then discarding 2... really good opponent's cards, so the Missile Bomb can end up being pretty useful. Shield, this one's actually useful. This is one of the more useful power-ups for sure. It just protects one of your cards. It doesn't protect all your cards, it does one of your cards, but yeah, it's pretty good. And as you can see in this drawing, Blizzard's holding it up, protecting himself from some bullets. Next up, we got Magic Portal. So it's just a magic portal. The drawing is pretty self-explanatory. Draw a new card from the deck. You can only use this one. Yeah, so it just, out of the portal, just comes a completely random character that you get to add to your army for that game. Well, yeah. for that game, or do you keep it? I don't really know how that would be, actually, 100%. So, Boomerang here. So you can use this 3 times. Boomerang is actually pretty good. If you use it at the right times, it can actually be really helpful. Boomerang is pretty good. And yeah, the drawing here, Boomerang is just slicing through a tree. Optional potion. Gain through this is okay. Yeah, I mean, this power-up is okay. As you can see, the potion's just in a lab. Pretty simple drawing. Smoke bomb. So it just sprays out a bunch of smoke, and any card will be puzzled for the rest of the game. That literally means... So it's just like a worse version of Cage, kind of, because obviously puzzling a card isn't as good as disabling it, because puzzled makes it do half damage for a turn, rather than just completely disabling it. But yeah, and as you can see, I don't know if you can really tell, but Dragonator is getting bombarded with smoke and that. Robot Army. So it only lets you do 10 extra damage, but you can use it 5 times, which is quite a bit. So each robot will make a mini explosion is the idea, because there's 5 robots. So this might not sound useful at all, but there's actually a lot of situations where you could be like 10 damage away from killing a card, and that means you have to wait a whole nother turn until you can kill the card. It can be pretty frustrating. So the Robot Army can save some frustration of that, for sure. Now we got Magic Mirror. Use an attack any opponent used on their most recent turn. Yeah, so Magic Mirror just reflects back an attack. That's pretty much the idea of it. And it's pretty good. As you can see here, it's reflecting back a laser, but at the same time, it's just in someone's bedroom, which is kind of weird. But yeah, you can only use it once. It can be pretty useful, though. Let's say someone uses a really good attack on you, you just use it back on them. Pretty simple. Sword. So Sword will do 30 extra damage each time you use it, but it does 10 less damage each time. So yeah, the sword, this is obviously not the highest quality sword because it breaks down each time you use it, but it's still pretty good power up actually. That overall lets you do 60 extra damage overall. And Drone, draw cards from the deck until you get a non-leveling card. So the idea of the drone is that it just like searches for it just keeps searching until it finds a non-leveling card. And yeah, you just keep picking up cards till you get, and then whenever you find a non-leveling card, then that's the one that you get to keep. So yeah, that's what Drone does. It finds a non-leveling card. And that is the final power-up to go over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wait, what? Okay, I did not count that right. Let me make sure I went over them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, yeah, 22. There's not 22 power. I counted that wrong. There's only 21. Anyways, that's it. I just explained every single card. We did that. Well, that was pretty nice. I guess just to end this, I'll just show something for fun. So, here are some of the old cards. Let me go grab them. Got them. Here are the old cards of the game. So here are the first versions. These are the first ones drawn. Here's Goo. Some of these. Yeah, I mean, they're these cards are inspired completely by those drawings and stuff. If you didn't know that, which I'm pretty sure you did because I made it pretty clear throughout this channel that these are all inspired by my old drawings. But yeah, and then of course we also got the power-up deck right here, all the power-ups too. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Just all these old versions. I mean, if Fierce Fighters ends up getting big and I end up doing what I need to get it big, then these cards will be a very special thing to me. These old versions of them. But yeah. And then also another thing is that I do have the smaller versions of the old cards. Here we go. So before I actually made so I pretty much all the old cards I used to draw used to be like these big ones, but then I also found these plain old cards. Wait, why did I say old? I just found like these plain cards in a board game creating set, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You can make small cards. That's more like actual cards, and so I made this thing, Fierce Fighters Pocket Edition, which is now, I mean, Fierce Fighters are supposed to fit in pockets, but yeah, these are the ones I use for the transformation drawing videos mostly, because they actually pretty much match the exact size of the new Fierce Fighters cards, so it's always cooler to see them side by side rather than the big ones that are completely different size, like way bigger. So I think that's the end of it. Or actually, I'll go show my very old card game, my very old one. That's some of the ideas are from. Okay, let's take a look. These, oh my gosh, it's just called Powerful Creatures? You gotta be kidding me. So these are very old, but actually some of the ideas were inspired by this. My bear, wait. Oh, I think my bear is the flip-op inspiration. These are so weird. My shark. Sureman. Wait, why was the name Sureman? Okay, so this is Mashark. His name was Sureman before, for some reason. Boomerang. Okay, Boomerang. I spelled that very correctly. Wow, it's just funny to see these old ones. These old ones are so weird. Oh my gosh, Giant Net. This was so old, this card game. It's called Powerful Creatures. Hot dog. The character's just a hot dog. But some of these ideas I actually found kind of good. Giant shield for wearing. Scissors. I spelled that right. That does not look like scissors. No, that does not really look like scissors. Bat. Book. Zapper. What am I gonna find? Oh, wait. Okay, we got one. Super Mokar. Wait, oh, is that how I got the super idea? It's from this game? Listing them as super? Okay, so Super Mokar is supposed to be Super Cyron. I ended up Mokar being the first version. But yeah, Super Cyron, Super Mokar, same thing. Razor Sharpness. What else do we have? Okay, there's Sword. I think the power-up was inspired by that. And then here we got Mokar, Cyron. Oh yeah, so this is how I came up with the name Cyron. Is from me incorrectly spelling Siren on this old card. That's how I came up with the name Siren. That's kind of weird. Powerful Creatures prank card. Yeah, I should add that in Fierce Fighters. I should add the prank cards that just are just the useless cards that do absolutely nothing when you get them. Super Frocube. Okay, so Super Frocube. That's him. He looks so weird in this old one. Oh, this is Flip-Op. Here we go. That's Flip-Op. Powered Flip-Op. Wait, what? Why is there a powered Flip-Op? That doesn't make sense. Oh, here's Crupsel. Crupsel doesn't look like a mole on here. Then we got Krage. Krage, he used to have hands. Krage is supposed to have wrecking balls as hands. And powered Marilla. So this is obviously the Marilla. His arms were just a little bit big back then. Super Goomush. What is wrong with his shape? Got another prank card. Glamian. I think Glamian's kind of goo now. Cubus. I think that's now Frocube or Isol. Cubicatus. That's actually not a bad name. Goomush. I spelled like Gomush though. So I corrected that. Super Marilla. Well, that doesn't exist. Marilla is a non-leveling card. We got Crupsel. And we got Molecat. Okay, so Molecat too. I don't think I'm going to go through all of these. Another Frocube. Here's the normal Frocube. Blade. Oh yeah, so that's the Saw Blade inspiration. It'll do 50 damage to both active creatures. That's different than I have right now. Oh, and we got Machane. Here's a Marilla one, too. And who's this? Oh, we got Trappage. Oh, wait, Trappage did have Wrecking Ball arms. And Super Trappage. Super Trappage has a Wrecking Ball arm and then one normal arm. Another Super Trappage. Wow, I mean, the writing is so clean on these, obviously. Another Super Trappage? How many did I make? Another one? You gotta be kidding me. Isn't that like 5 in a row? Oh, and here's Psycho. We all know Psycho, don't we? And another Psycho. And then Boomzo. But his name used to be Baimsuko instead of Boomzo. Yeah, so his name used to be Baimsuko. Alright, Powered Trappage and Krage, Crupsel. Wait, did I go through all of them yet? Gooey Goo Goo. I should have definitely kept that name. Magic Mole. Oh, here's Grimlet. That's cool. Yeah. Super Leaves. I'm not going to make a tree character in Fierce 5. No. Rev Rocket? That's kind of weird. Actually, not a terrible idea, though. Super Mashark. Wait. There was a Mashark here? Machane. Healing Food. Turtad. I don't know how to say it. I'm not going to try to say that. Small Robot. Okay, so that's how I came up with the Robot Army. Is do 10 extra damage, but 10 extra damage is so weak, though, so I just expanded it to 50. drive a car. Triangular. Mega hot dog. Blanket. Mr. Box. Okay, I think I'm almost at the end here. I actually ended up going through a bunch of these. Chompy. Powered Mashark. Psychic. I think I'm almost done, actually, so I'll actually end up going through all of these. Shield. Okay. Tundra. That's the name of one of my real-life dogs. That's how I came up with this. Tosser. Mega hot dog. Another hot dog. Snag bag. Wait, snag bag? That might actually be... Oh, water bottle? No, water bottle is a bad one. Moblet. What are these names? Mashark. Okay, here's Mashark. That's Mashark. That's actually quite similar to the nowadays Mashark. Okay, so that's all of them. That's all the Powerful Creatures cards. That was funny to look through Powerful Creatures. I have not checked out Powerful Creatures in a very long time. Well, I think that wraps up everything. And yeah, I mean, actually, there's one more thing one more fun thing I'll do to end. Some of the old Fierce Fighters books. I'll go get those. Here we go. So the new Fierce Fighters books definitely work different than the old ones, but we got Intergalactic Battles. That's like got King Galax and stuff, and I'm gonna use a lot of the ideas from this story for the I think it's gonna be like story number 3 or 4, something like that. See, there's King Orbistar, and we got Polestar here, and Quasis, another. Oh, that's normal Orbistar, stuff like that. Fierce Fighters. Okay, so we got Fierce Fighters Ultimate Guide and Fierce Fighters Ultimate Guide 2. So Fierce Fighters Ultimate Guide just goes and explains every single character. I'll definitely change, some of the stories behind the characters, but this book here actually took me so long to make. Like, this took a long time to make, to write out things for every single one of these characters, to draw each one. This is a cool book, though. I should actually read this again. I kind of want to read this again. Just read through the whole thing and see how much different I've come up with how much different my stories for the characters were back then. They weren't that much different, though. I'm guessing they're not really too much different. Why does Ultra Cycle look so weird? Yeah, I'm actually gonna read through this again. That would be pretty fun. And then Fierce Fighters Ultimate Guide 2 is just the same thing, except with whenever I added some newer characters, as you could see. Let's read one. So Montonius. When two Montonios touch their chest plates together, they collide into a Montonius. Scary. But yeah, so that's the idea I stuck with. Remember when I explained that earlier? These giant beasts are as tall as houses. They're in a prison heavily guarded by multiple Sharkosaurus. I don't know if I'm going to stick with that idea. I don't know. I'm not making up all that stuff right now. Novus. To evolve, a Novus must connect with the Starmies to become... Well, Starmie. I changed the name to Starnius. To become Orbistar. Once they do that, they'll... okay. Yeah, that's pretty much the concepts I stick with now. Stuck with. Let's check out... I'm not going to read all these right now, but I think I'll read all these eventually. This will actually be fun to just look back on the book. What did I do for King Galax? This fighter was the king of the galaxy, but got captured by Polestar. He managed to escape, though. Till this day, no one knows where he went. Yeah, the story for him now is still similar to that. But I think whenever I make the actual, legit Fierce Fighters guidebook, I'm going to write a lot more for each character than what I wrote in here and stuff. I'm going to add some things. That book is going to be cool to make. I'm pretty excited to make the Fierce Fighters Ultimate Guidebook. And then the World of Fierce Fighters, I just went into depth more on some of the main characters here. And this one was pretty cool to make. Fierce Fighters are, so, yeah, I don't know if that's going to be congruent with what I'm going to make the story more like now. But, yeah, it was cool to see this. And is there one more? Oh, yeah, Fierce... No, wait, no, I already went over this before. Yeah, I guess that's it, really. And... yeah, this is actually pretty fun to make. Just look at all the cards, talk about them, go through some of my old cards again. And if you're still here seeing this or listening to this or whatever, thank you for watching or listening or whatever it is. And that's it. See ya.